and we'll get out of here. A high of 54. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte with the reports there's a big yogurt spill somewhere. Is it
right.
Greek yogurt, Jim?
I don't know. We
You'll
haven't
play.
been able to determine how much protein's in there yet. Good morning, Amy and Dan. We thought we were just talking about flooding this morning, but we've got a yogurt flood on the inbound Ryan. The local lanes are closed right now. Between 63rd and the Skyway, this truck was hauling about 2,000 pounds of yogurt, we're told. So it's a big backup now. Delays on the inbound Ryan are starting before 79th Street. And again, it looks like traffic can get by in the express, but the locals are blocked entirely. Little heavy on inbound I-57 approaching the Rye. The Bishop Ford also a little heavy approaching. We have a crash on the southbound Tri-State just before LaGrange Road in the two right lanes. Some flood-related closures, mostly in the west and southwest suburbs. Southbound 53 is blocked in Lyle from Butterfield to Park Boulevard. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Commercial roofing is a serious venture that protects your business and property. It depends on the right manufacturer and the company to install it. Chicago weather and high winds require a high quality of roof and an experienced roofer. For over 3 decades, Champion Roofing has been the recognized leader in commercial roofing. With a commitment to quality and attention to detail, Champion offers warranties from 5 to 30 years. And Champion's roofers have the experience to provide you with the assurance of a quality installation through excellent workmanship. Give yourself and your business peace of mind. Trust the Champion for unmatched commercial roofing expertise, extensive range of services, the security of a comprehensive warranty, and a highly skilled workforce to install your roofs for a job well done. Call licensed, bonded, and insured Champion Roofing today for your free estimate. 847-673-7663 or visit championroofing.com. That's 847-673-7663 or online at championroofing.com. Don't trust your roof to anybody other than a champion.
I'm James Furr. I'm a 70-year-old Vietnam veteran, and I have hepatitis C. My main focus was to take care of hepatitis C. Taking Balance of Nature did other things for me. I was feeling more energetic. My mental acuity had increased. When I play golf, I would notice that bending over to line up a putt, I would have a bit of a struggle to stand back up. But even now, 10 years later, I stand up better than I did then. Taking Balance of Nature, getting fruits and vegetables into your system is just another way to deal with hepatitis C. I will live happily with hepatitis C instead of feeling like I want to die because someone's trying to cure me of it. But thanks to Balance of Nature, I live a normal, happy, healthy, pain-free life.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
There's no feeling like grabbing a seat in a comfy chair to look through memories in a photo album. It's so much more enjoyable than looking at a computer or the small screen of a smartphone. An album of photos will last a lifetime. They can't be erased or become victim of a crashed hard drive. Print your photo memories at oneclickpics.com, your online photo center. Whether they're for an album, a gift, or framed for display, you want the very best quality. You can get that from the photo experts at oneclickpics.com. OneClickPics.com is a professional photo printer. You'll be amazed at the quality of your pictures, canvas prints, invitations, or announcements. You'll see details in your photos you've never seen before. And right now, when you buy 25 printed photo cards, you get 15 free. Use promo code 15FREE at checkout. Trust your digital picture memories to the photo technicians trained in every aspect of digital photo production. OneClickPics.com. OneClickPix.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up next, it's me, Mike Gallagher, right after Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So the White House Correspondents' Center Saturday night, sans President Trump, featured a Daily Show. Yes, it's still on.
Yeah, I looked at that guy and I said, who is that guy?
Daily Show correspondent Hassan Minhaj. Well, you'd have to watch the program to know who it is, so I didn't know who it was either. Because who watches it?
I don't know.
What's the point?
What was Sam B then? Was she the mistress of ceremonies and then he was the headliner?
Yeah.
Oh, different. Okay.
Yeah. Samantha Bee wasn't the White House Correspondents.
Oh, she did a show.
She did her own show.
Before her own show there. Okay.
Samantha Bee. That's
where Will Ferrell was.
And the only reason anybody knows her is not because of the show she allegedly has now. It's because she used to be on The Daily Show when people used to watch it. So Minaj went to the place that you always go when it's a Republican. You know, everybody's a racist and everybody's a Nazi, and he's an Indian American Muslim immigrant, first generation, and so he's oppressed, even though America's so great that a 30-year-old Indian American Muslim immigrant can be on the stage before the entire D.C. press corps making fun of the President of the United States. He was very confused when he tried to be serious because this is liberalism, and this is what he's a part of. And let me just give you a sense of it. Do you ever tire of this? I mean, do you ever tire of this kind of humor?
Is Steve Bannon here? I do not see Steve Bannon. I do not see Steve Bannon. Not see Steve Bannon. Not see Steve Bannon. Not see Steve Bannon.
See what he did there? See, for me, humor has to have some basis in truth. That's the great humor. And it's an exaggerated version of the truth. Steve Bannon, Nazi. I mean, it's creatively set up, but it's the same old, same old. It might as well be Maxine Waters calling him a Nazi straight away as opposed to trying to be cute about it. Also, he didn't see Mike Pence there.
Mike Pence wanted to be here tonight, but his wife wouldn't let him because apparently one of you ladies is ovulating. So, good job, ladies. Because of you, we couldn't hang out with Mike Pence.
See, that's not even funny.
Yeah.
It's a commitment to marriage. So what?
So you
That's
got
that's not a joke line.
you get here's Republicans. They're racists and Nazis and misogynists and and they're racist.
Jeff Sessions couldn't be here tonight. He was busy doing a pre-Civil War reenactment. On his RSVP, he just wrote no, just no, which happens to be his second favorite N-word.
Okay. Do you want to get to Woodward and Bernstein?
Hilarious. Let's get to Ed in Oakbrook, also enterprising journalist. Hey, Ed.
Hey, how are you guys? You know what, Dan and Amy, it is so obvious that this is some kind of coordinated effort by all the liberals and maybe all of the Democrats have any kind of a voice to just delegitimize Trump and anything that he does and anybody that's around him. And the best course, and I think you might agree, is just ignore the press because they're making themselves look like fools. These Hollywood types are making themselves look like fools. This guy could cure cancer and they would find something wrong with it. So, and we're hearing that crowd cheer in Harrisburg when we played it earlier in the show. You know what? That was tremendous, and I'm so glad Trump went there because if you read the news and just listen to the radio and TV shows, you would think that Trump is the worst thing that ever happened to this country. And who knows? We'll find out, but at least give him a chance.
Thanks, Ed.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Acme Home Insurance.
Yes, I'd like to make a claim.
What are you wanting to claim, sir?
My air conditioner broke down.
Sorry, but your home insurance doesn't cover air conditioner breakdowns.
So what do you cover?
Home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse? But that'll never happen.
But if it did, you'd be covered, sir.
But not my air conditioner?
I'm afraid not.
But his air conditioner could have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus components of 20 other major home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, refrigerator, and more. For valuable free information, call 1-800-617-4432. Home insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Life happens. Have a plan. Get a home warranty from American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-617-4432. That's 1-800-617-4432. 1-800-617-4432.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. The storm season is here. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for sudden damage and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, you know that yogurt spill that Jim Telmonte was telling us about?
Yeah, 2,000 pounds of yogurt.
Text from 708. I was always told that yogurt would prevent a backup.
Oh,
Zing.
hey-oh. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, 100 days of President Trump. Promises kept, promises made. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. 50 degrees outside. 14 are dead after tornadoes and flooding swept across the South and Midwest over the weekend. Tornadoes in East Texas killed 4. Winds and flooding in Arkansas left 5 dead. Others were killed in Missouri, Mississippi, and Tennessee. Today is May Day. Thousands are planning to hit the streets, they say, in protest of President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigrants. Rallies set from New York to Seattle. The president himself is now conceding his job as president is a challenge, but it's something he really loves and thinks he's doing fairly well at.
I love doing it. I'm, thoroughly enjoying it. It's always a challenge, like life itself is a challenge, but it's something that I really love, and I think I've done a very good job at it.
Appearing on CBS's Face the Nation, Trump called the presidency a tough job, but says he's had a lot of tough jobs throughout his life that have challenged him. Detroit police officer in critical condition after being shot Sunday night while responding to a domestic dispute call. Police say the officer is in surgery early this morning with a single bullet wound. Police say officers shot and killed an armed man suspected of shooting 8 Sunday at an apartment complex pool in San Diego. Chicago coming off a wet and rainy weekend. 3 inches or more of rain has fallen across the city and suburbs. And if there is a river in this state, there is a chance it will flood this week from the Wisconsin border down to the Ohio River. Bloomington could be the next city in the state to be a welcoming community. Marchers are set to rally in Bloomington later today. 3 Cook County jail inmates are accused of attacking correctional officers. They're being held without bond. Surveillance video captured the suspects kicking and punching the officers last week in the maximum security section of the jail. Red Sox over the Cubs, 6-2. Tigers avoid the 3-game sweep with a 7-3 win over the White Sox in Detroit. The news is a service of Live Nation. Live Nation is celebrating summer concert season with $20 concert tickets to over 1,000 shows. This offer won't last long. Buy your tickets May 2nd through May 9th. Don't miss out. Visit livenation.com now. 5:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees the end of free speech.
The practice of college students silencing speakers. Conservative speakers. I can think of no time where I have done anything other than disagree with somebody on the far left's perspective. I can't wrap my brain around stopping that person from speaking.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
Need a new CPAP? Then we need you. We're CPAP.com, and we recently overstocked the world's best CPAP machines. Top-of-the-line devices from brands like ResMed and Philips Respironics. Call now and get one of these overstocked CPAPs for a fraction of the price. We'll even give you free next-day air shipping. Call 1-800-500-5671. The best part? No insurance needed. We're giving out these CPAPs at prices so low they'll cost less than your copay and deductible through insurance. CPAP.com has shipped over 1 million orders and has the world's largest selection of CPAPs and accessories. With no retail overhead or costly middlemen, we're the best way to get comfortable, effective sleep apnea equipment at incredibly low prices. Again, CPAP.com has overstocked premium CPAPs. Call now to get a ResMed or Philips Respironics machine for a fraction of the price with free next-day air shipping. Call 1-800-500-5671. Hurry. When these overstocked CPAPs are gone, they're really gone. That's 1-800-500-5671.
5:35 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Here's the latest on the big yogurt spill on the inbound Rhine. The local lanes remain closed from the Skyway to 63rd. We're told this is getting moved over toward the guardrails, so the locals hopefully will be opening soon, but it's a big backup. Yogurt or not, the delays start well before 95th Street now. On the Rhine, with only express lanes open, it's 30 minutes and rising from 95th to downtown. I-57 delays now start before 111th, so about 23 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford at 21 minutes. The Edens is fine, so is the Kennedy, aside from the wet roadways. Eisenhower, little congestion now past 25th. Mount Stevenson delays start at Cicero, 38 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The tollways, Tri-State looking okay, and the other tollways are good. There are some flood-related closures, especially in the southwest suburbs. Traffic is a service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today. Just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee. For tires, oil, service, and repairs, National Tire and Battery. That's all you need. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Cloudy, windy, couple of showers today, high near 56. 47 at O'Hare, 53 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. HealthQuest Radio is heard Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock here on AM 560, The Answer.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
What is up, Dan and Amy? So we passed the 100-day mark with President Trump on Saturday as he rallied the deplorables in Harrisburg, PA.
First visiting a lawnmower company, though, too. It was
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
Because he's going to mow over the media. Oh! Yes, I
see.
still have it.
I see what you did there.
Hey, how did you celebrate Trump's first 100 days on Saturday? Birthday boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, how was your birthday? I heard that you were having dinner with U.S. Senator Dick Durbin and his wife.
Yeah, we were at the same event.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable for him.
You know, he put a balloon on your chair.
We weren't seated far enough apart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I know. I could look at him, too, because I was at the same event with you, and I could see him.
Sack of Durbin. Yeah, Senator.
He should take deep breaths in between eating. Because I had a full, I saw him perfectly, and he was like, I felt like saying, take a deep breath in between bites.
Other people's money, other people's food.
Yes.
It's the same approach that Sack of Durbin has. But in terms of President Trump, the first 100 days, he opined on this in Harrisburg. He also had a op-ed in the Washington Post. Issue by issue, department by department, we're giving the people their country back. After decades of a shrinking middle class, open borders, and the mass offshoring of American jobs and wealth, this government is working for the citizens of our country and no one else. Do you agree with Trump's assessment of Trump's first 100 days? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. What grade would you give him 100 days in? And he did something interesting in Pennsylvania, too, in framing his first 100 days. This line may ring familiar to you all.
But to understand the historic progress that we've made, we must speak honestly about the situation that we and I inherited. Because believe me, The previous administration gave us a mess.
Bush drove the economy into the ditch. Remember that? For 8
Mhm.
years?
8
Literally
years
8 years for President Obama. He was still blaming Bush. So I wonder how the D.C. press corps and Obama acolytes react to Trump running the same game on him, because there's certainly a lot of burning oil derricks that Trump inherited. And is it legitimate for Trump to make the same argument that President Obama makes, and frankly, the same argument that any president could make, because there's always going to be complications one president inherits from the other.
There's always going to be a blame game. But this morning we're finding out with this new budget, which is kind of upsetting, the funding bill that was, to avert the shutdown. There's no money for a border wall, no money for a deportation force, no cuts for sanctuary cities, and no cuts for Planned Parenthood. So didn't he, he campaigned on building the wall. He campaigned on shutting funding down for Planned Parenthood. So do we have to wait until September then? I just think it's strange they did this right after the 100-day milestone mark.
Well, this is, this is going to be something where things all don't come together in 100 days. Please see Obamacare replacement. But it may yet come together. An Obamacare replacement may yet come together this week. He spoke about it over the weekend, did the president, in his interview with John Dickerson on Face the Nation. But
Deface the nation?
As he likes to call it.
That's what he called it.
Yeah. The continuing resolution, though, this is a problem for Paul Ryan. This is starting to become a leadership problem in the House, where you have Paul Ryan not able to whip the vote for Obamacare replacement. He gets the Freedom Caucus endorsement last week. They still delay calling the vote. I'm not saying there has to be necessarily a definitive date set, a Maginot line drawn, but at some point you have to call the question when it looks like you have or should have all the support you need. On the matter of the CR, it's the same thing. Okay, fine, we don't have to die on the Hill on Friday. There are other more pressing objectives. But defunding Planned Parenthood is something that Paul Ryan said was a moral imperative. Paul Ryan said that they were absolutely going to do. Obviously, building the border wall and increasing personnel at ICE is something the president said would happen, in addition to going after sanctuary cities. And on that score of sanctuary cities, the president wasn't walking back from that at all in Harrisburg.
At the heart of my administration's efforts to restore the rule of law has been a nationwide crackdown on criminal gangs, and that means taking the fight to the sanctuary cities that shield these dangerous criminals from removal.
So Jeff Sessions has taken the fight, and that's obviously part of the administration, so the president gets credit. And that is a pending matter because of the injunction from that federal district court judge on the left coast. But Paul Ryan, it seems to me in particular, isn't holding up his end. And the threat of the filibuster on the other side, at some point that excuse is going to become quite stale.
Mm-hmm. Well, how do you think, because you asked earlier about a grade you would give President Trump, what grade would you give him? 312-642-5600 is our Turnkey.Pro answer line. But I want to hear from you, Dan. What would you give him? Or do you not dole out grades?
I don't know. I'd give him a B.
Okay.
I think he's done a pretty good job. I think he's tried to move in the direction he said he would move, even where he hasn't been totally successful. To me, the first 100 days, in terms of what he's actually accomplished, Gorsuch alone makes
it all worthwhile.
Well, it validates my vote for Trump. The Gorsuch alone validates my vote for Trump. And I think we're going to get a lot more than that. What he's proposed in terms of broad outlines for tax relief is very good. What he has done directionally through executive order and culture setting with respect to regulatory relief, very good. The tough line on sanctuary cities and Jeff Sessions getting right after it, very good. There's been some failures. There's been some misfires in terms of rolling out executive orders, and there's been some tangents he's gone on that were unnecessary. So, okay. But here's the thing. The first 100 days sort of signaling, generally speaking, even though he has some tangible accomplishments to point to.
Is it an artificial milestone?
Well, it
It was
is.
started
But
by FDR, right? I'm going to accomplish this in the first 100 days.
But he's accepted it. Trump has accepted it, and we've kind of set that tone to do a stop, look, and listen. So yes, it's artificial, but 100 days in, as you're putting your team together and starting to move your agenda, it's okay to do stop, look, and listens. Well, that's fine. But I think the next 100 days are going to be determinative. These were instructive, these past 100 days. The next 100 days are going to be determinative because you're going to have to move from the signaling, what can be done through executive action, the jawboning of issues, the debate in the House and even in the Senate, to actually legislating. He's going to have to translate these moral precepts into policy. He's going to have to advance the flag, and so, frankly, is Paul Ryan, and so is Mitch McConnell, in conjunction with President Trump, on big-ticket items like structural tax relief, like Obamacare replacement, like regulatory relief, like the rule of law as it pertains to our borders and national security. We're going to have to see tangible progress in all of those areas, I think, for him to be in a strong position and Republicans to be in a strong position next year for the midterms and even with a look ahead towards his reelect in 2020. If he doesn't and Republicans don't put some points on the board with respect to policy accomplishments in these areas, then there is this accountability mechanism called elections. Primaries, for some.
Yeah.
Pour encourager l'autre.
Oh, I had that last night for dinner.
You took French?
Yeah. Oh, no, that was the wine I drank last night.
Captain Bligh.
Bonjour.
Pour encourager
l'autre.
l'autre.
No, I went into a different continent there.
But in primary elections,
yes,
some will be made examples of for the others. That's the point. That's the what that means. And then general elections. And I mean, could you see the specter of the Joker back in the speaker's chair if they don't again put points on the board in these areas? It's possible.
Yeah. Well, one person who weighed in on Trump's first 100 days was Trump's very good friend Howard Stern, who is not a political mind by any means, but he knows him, I think, better than most.
I really was sincere. I said, why would you want to be the president of the United States? You're not going to be beloved. It's going to be a nightmare in your life. He stepped into a situation that's really not a win for him. And it's going to be agita. He's a 70-year-old guy. He's got a great life, gorgeous wife, great kids. He's got helicopters, airplanes. He's got all the accoutrements of a great life. So now to step into this mess, and for what? There are people who are better suited for this kind of thing, and they don't need it. He didn't need this in his life.
Yeah, that's right. That's why you don't listen to Howard Stern for deep insights on politics and policy, because maybe just wrestle with this concept.
Yes.
Yes, he's got a big ego, like frankly everybody in politics or everybody in media. Got a big ego, thinks a lot of himself. He makes no bones about that. Maybe actually, and this is what you hear from people who actually know him really well too.
Uh-huh.
Maybe he wants, as a 70-year-old man who's got a great life and is on Easy Street, maybe he wants to do something for the country. Maybe he really believes a lot of this stuff.
He told that Washington Post reporter that every decision he makes, he knows that there's a life that would be affected by the decisions he makes.
And let me tell you something. Agree or disagree with him, and I disagree with him on some issues, particularly with respect to trade. But it's not like he's just been saying this for the last 2 years as a candidate for president, now president. I mean, we've played the interviews from Oprah in the 80s where he was saying some of the same things then that he said as a candidate now as president. So maybe he wants to be a bit of a servant, if you will, even though that's overused when applied to politicians. But maybe in terms of a life well lived, this is his way to give back for all of the success and the great life that he's had. Maybe that's something that Howard Stern should try and wrap his mind around.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, today's going to be cloudy and windy, and I'm sorry, a couple of showers. When's it going to end? Well, we're going to have showers today, some passing showers tonight, and tomorrow, just mostly cloudy skies, windy, cool, a high again in the mid-50s. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Jim Telemonte, we've talked about the 2,000 pounds of yogurt that spilled, but how does one clean that up, especially when it's raining out?
Well, fortunately, Amy, it doesn't look like there's a yogurt flood or anything like that, so this has all been moved off to the side, thankfully. And all lanes are open again on the Ryan. The roadway was shut down in the locals between the Skyway and 63rd Street. Now all lanes are open, so all that's left, aside from the yogurt on the side of the road, is a big backup extending down to I-57 and the Bishop Ford Freeway. And so the travel times are high, but they're not really insane considering that closure. The Bishop Ford running 32 minutes from 80 to 94 to the Ryan, I-57 at 27 minutes, and then the Ryan, it's about 30 minutes or so, 95th to downtown. But it is a pretty big jam between the merge and then when you get to that point between the Skyway near 63rd Street. But everything's open again. We don't have a camera right there, so I haven't narrowed down a flavor or a brand in terms of the yogurt. The other expressways and tollways pretty routine. Still some flood-related closures in the suburbs. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
If you're an unincorporated business owner, it's too late for you. That is, if you've already been sued and lost your home, your car, and your family's life savings. But if you haven't been sued yet, there is still time to incorporate and protect your personal assets. And if you do it right now, you can incorporate in just 10 minutes, because Incorporate.com is now giving away a free incorporation guide to all business owners. For your free 10-minute incorporation guide, call now. 1-800-400-4817. Incorporation is the shield that protects your personal assets. Without it, you could lose everything. That's why at Incorporate.com, they just make incorporating or forming an LLC quick and easy. They don't provide legal or financial advice. If someone sues tomorrow, will you lose everything? Don't wait until it's too late. Hurry and call now for your free 10-minute incorporation guide while they're still giving them away for free. Call 1-800-400-4817. That's 1-800-400-4817. 1-800-400-4817.
Ransomware is software that can infiltrate your business through email, enabling cyber criminals to hijack sensitive information as ransom for your own data's release. Leveraging Barracuda email security with advanced threat detection can stop a ransomware attack in its tracks. As an added measure, Barracuda Backup allows you to recover your data without having to surrender to extortion. Crime doesn't pay when you protect your business data with Barracuda. Go to Barracuda.com/ransomware to learn more.
When you need spends a little too much time in the sun relief.
Yikes.
Oh, what the? Attack of the angry mosquito relief.
Hey, watch this.
Scraped knees.
And an elbow.
Relief. You need new Gold Bond Pain and Itch Relief Cream with lidocaine. Gold Bond has the maximum strength lidocaine available without a prescription and starts working on contact to numb away pain and itch. New Gold Bond with lidocaine. Relief starts now. Use as directed.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. Every long-lasting, successful organization has accountability mechanisms up and down the chain of command. 100 days in, we're about to find out if the Trump-led National GOP will be successful and their legislative majorities long-lasting. Legislating, where direct benefits are conferred or removed, is where discipline is required and unity of purpose is displayed. Legislating is where we separate the flag wavers from the flag movers. Legislating is where moral precepts are translated into law. On this measure, the next 100 days for President Trump and congressional Republicans would be much more significant than the first 100. $20 trillion in debt and 5 times that in unfunded liabilities were not racked up by the federal government overnight and will not be paid down overnight. But those numbers do demand bold action on spending and growth. The former must be restrained so the latter may be unleashed. The imperfect Obamacare replacement 2.0 and the less imperfect tax relief plan are good places to start legislating. For if the party fails to hold itself to account, external Captain Bligh-style accountability will come next year in primary and general elections.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
It takes a lot of courage to face your own death, but I'm glad I finally did. See, I was putting off getting life insurance to protect my family, even though I knew it was important. Then my neighbor's husband died. I watched her struggle emotionally and financially. It really made me face reality. If my husband died, how would I pay the mortgage, the car payments, or keep up the life the kids and I had? I realized I needed to get us life insurance right away. So I called AIG Direct. In less than 5 minutes, I had a quote. I was shocked at how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. I feel so much better knowing my family has protection.
Call AIG Direct right now for a free no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you can save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-500-5236. That's 1-800-500-5236. 1-800-500-5236.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Dave Geiselhart, president and owner of Home Trust Mortgage and customer of Signature Bank. When the large banks turned away from the mortgage lending industry during the financial crisis, I turned to locally owned Signature Bank. Signature Bank stepped in and helped me expand our business at a time when the larger banks wouldn't. Today, I'm proud to say Home Trust Mortgage has been able to expand our business in Illinois and the Great Lakes region. We couldn't have done that without the help of Signature Bank. Signature Bank truly helps Chicago businesses like mine grow and thrive. That's why we also became personal customers and shareholders of Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The good news, our business is growing. The bad news, we have to hire again.
Ugh, the searching.
Oh, where do we look?
What if we hire the wrong person? Actually, we could use ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter?
ZipRecruiter makes hiring fast and easy. With one click, our job would be posted to 100 leading job sites. But are the candidates any good? You bet. As soon as we post our job, ZipRecruiter starts identifying the best matches and notifies them to apply, all within minutes. Well,
whether you're looking to fill one position or 20, find the best candidates fast with ZipRecruiter. Find out why ZipRecruiter has been used by hundreds of thousands of businesses in a variety of industries nationwide. Right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work. ZipRecruiter.com/work.
5:57. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. An earlier truck crash on the inbound Ryan near 63rd has cleared. All lanes have reopened. The truck and the yogurt it was carrying all been moved off to the side, but it's 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57. Because of this, 28 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop Ford 32. The Kennedy, 23 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. The Eisenhower, 32 minutes, Thorndale to the post office. Stevenson, 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Traffic is a service of Live Nation. Live Nation is celebrating summer concert season with $20 concert tickets to over 1,000 shows. This offer won't last long. Buy your tickets May 2nd through May 9th. Don't miss out. Visit livenation.com now. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues after a full update from Fox News, your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Cloudy and windy today with wind gusts up to 35 miles per hour. Couple of showers during the day with a high 56. Then a breezy night, wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour with just a passing shower, low tonight 41. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
The news is service of Al Piemonte Ford. Stop. Before you buy your new car, you must visit Al Piemonte Ford now. Truckloads of new cars, trucks just arrived. Everything's priced to sell quickly. Al Piemonte Ford is at 25th and North Avenue in Melrose Park. 5:59 here in Chicago. Here are the stories we're following. 14 are dead after tornadoes and flooding sweep across the South and Midwest. Fox with the latest on that developing story. And if there's a river in this state, there's a chance it will flood this week. National Weather Service posting flood watches and flood warnings for the early part of this week from Chicago all the way down to Carbondale. Large crowds are expected to hit the streets of Chicago today, marking May Day. Rallies are expected across the state as well. No one in custody after someone broke into Chicago PD Superintendent Eddie Johnson's unmarked SUV on Saturday. Red Sox beat the Cubs. Tigers avoid a 3-game sweep with a 7-3 win over the White Sox. And coming up next, Fox News on WIND Chicago.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. 1 minute he was lounging in a chair by the pool. The next he was shooting.
It's, pow, 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 just out of nowhere.
Sending people running from a birthday pool party at a San Diego apartment complex last night.
It sounded like really loud fireworks and then a lot of people yelling.
7 people were shot before police arrived and shot and killed the gunman, a white suspect. The victims were black and Latino. 1 died. The others were in critical condition. There was also a shooting at a home in Topeka, Kansas yesterday that provides care for people with special needs.
4 subjects were pronounced deceased at the scene.
Police Lieutenant Colleen Stewart says the gunman is among those dead. Is believed he shot himself. A 5th person shot is expected to survive. A Detroit police officer was shot in the head late last night, needed surgery, and is very critical. Responding to a domestic dispute, he and the other officer returned fire, and the gunman's dead. Congress has worked out a deal to avert a showdown over a government shutdown. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, Democrats and Republicans have reached agreement on a massive $1 trillion-plus spending bill that funds the government through September. It includes money for border security, but not for building the wall. The measure also includes a down payment on President Trump's request to boost the military. The House and Senate have until midnight Friday to approve the bill, which would be the first big bipartisan legislation to advance during the president's tenure. Dave?
Rachel, there is tornado and storm and flood damage from Texas up to Tennessee. A lot of states hit.
Trees everywhere. This got to be the worst that ever happened around here.
He's in Durant, Mississippi. 2 of the 14 people killed in the weekend storms were in that state. 1 was 7 years old, electrocuted by a live wire. A 2-year-old was killed when hit by flying debris, a soccer goal post in Tennessee. And a woman died when she was swept away in her car in Missouri. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Summer involves a lot of driving, to camp, to work, to soccer, back home to grab what they forgot, and then back to soccer again. So wouldn't you like to know your car is up for it? Enter Hum by Verizon. Now you can check your car's health from your phone with vehicle diagnostics, drive with more peace of mind thanks to 24/7 emergency assistance, and let the kids stream and game on the go with your car's own Wi-Fi hotspot. Get Hum and get where you're going. Learn more at hum.com. Verizon Wi-Fi available on Hum X only. Data usage applies. Coverage not available everywhere. Visit vzw.com for availability.
Buying a new tractor? You owe it to yourself to visit your LS Tractor dealer. LS Tractors give you a lot more tractor for less money compared to other brands. For starters, LS Tractor comes with more select features as standard equipment. They make operating your tractor easier with better performance to get more work done quicker. Compare and you'll know who gives you more tractor for your money. LS Tractor. Excel in your field. Learn more at lstractorusa.com.
Visit Abbey Equipment in Streeter and get more tractor.
When you have sleep apnea, traveling can be a real drag because you have to drag your big, bulky home CPAP device with you everywhere you go. But not anymore. Now you can travel easily and sleep comfortably anywhere thanks to Transcend, the world's very first mini CPAP. And right now, you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. So call now, 1-800-400-1841. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. You can even add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so incredibly small and light, you can easily fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't delay. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-400-1841. Again, that's 1-800-400-1841.
This hourly segment is powered by CharlesEquipment.com. Weathering every storm and keeping the lights on.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And White House Correspondents' Center on Saturday night, as Trump said in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, while he was rallying with the deplorables, White House press consoling one another. That's a lot of what they were doing. But before we get to the Correspondence Center, this Holman Jenkins piece in the Wall Street Journal over the weekend is excellent. America's most anti-reform institution, the media. Think about this. Jenkins writes, the Washington Post moans the White House's new spending program would eliminate the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness, which coordinates the federal response to homelessness across 19 federal agencies, quote unquote, including providing funding for Meals on Wheels, a national nonprofit that delivers food to homebound seniors. Never mind that Meals on Wheels is not a federal program. Funding comes from private donations and state and local governments, sometimes using small parts of federal block grants. Here's the point that he's making using that as an example. It's all sob stories with the media. They are never in a discussion of costs and benefits. They are children. They don't understand or want to believe that there are trade-offs in life. So when it comes to a federal government that has $20 trillion in debt and $80 to $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities, what's their coverage? Sob stories. Sob stories about who is going to have a redundant benefit reduced or removed. He uses the tax plan as another example. Trump's plan shifts trillions to wealthiest. That was the New York Times headline. Shifts, writes Jenkins, the plan doesn't raise taxes on anybody except the affluent and businesses by ending certain deductions, and does so partly to pay for lower rates for the affluent and businesses. There's no taking from the poor to give to the rich, because, of course, as we know, the bottom 50% pay no federal income tax. Our income tax is almost exclusively a tax on the affluent and business. Working-class Americans are taxed through payroll taxes, which fall far short, even so, of covering their expected future benefits. The media are a major factor in the outcomes we get, goes Jenkins. Large spending commitments are willed into being without willing the tax revenues or economic growth to pay for them, and he uses Social Security and Medicare as two great examples of which are the drivers of our unfunded liabilities. We get only the horror of any proposed budget cut. We get the intolerability of any entitlement reform. And we continue to get such reporting right up to the day when it all unravels. Any cut in the nominal tax rate is an attack on the poor, even if this claim has no relation to logic or how the system actually works. Entitlements won't entitle, they're upside down. And then will become the blame laying. The finger will be pointed at everybody but the press itself for wringing out of our politicians any inclination that they might have mustered to meet our challenges head on. And isn't that the case in Chicago, too? Let me think about this in the context of Rauner and the budget. There's no institutional memory from the Chicago or Springfield press corps. Everything that's happened in Illinois and all the problems we face started in January of 2015 when Rauner took office. Of course, that's absurd, but that's how they report it. And it's the same thing at the White House correspondence level since they were celebrating themselves over the weekend. It's all sob stories. It's not news. It's not the hard costs and benefits of different policy paths in the context of policy challenges. I think Holman Jenkins has a really important point that isn't made real enough, isn't extended enough when we have these conversations about tax policy or health insurance policy or any other policy that relates to quality of life, that relates to benefits that are going to be conferred or removed. And so think about the Jenkins point in the context of what you hear from Jeff Mason, who is the White House Correspondent Association president, and he's the White House correspondent for the Reuters news service. Here's what he had to say when he addressed the press corps on Saturday night.
We cannot ignore the rhetoric that has been employed by the president about who we are and what we do. Freedom of the press is a building block of our democracy. Undermining that by seeking to delegitimize journalists is dangerous to a healthy republic.
So he goes on to make this point, to a standing ovation.
We are not fake news. We are not failing news organizations. And we are not the enemy of the American people.
Yeah, the White House Correspondents' Dinner was a celebration, celebrating journalists.
We are here to celebrate good journalism. We are here to celebrate the press, not the presidency. And I am happy to report, for anyone who's interested, that this dinner is sold out.
Yeah, Dan, it was sold out.
Yeah, they're
He
not.
wouldn't have said that if President Trump was there.
They're not here to celebrate the presidency.
They're celebrating.
Right, they did that for the past 8 years. That's when they were celebrating the presidency. They celebrate the presidency when there's a Democrat in the White House. That's what they do because, as we know, 84 to 92% since 1960 of the D.C. press corps have voted for the Democrat nominee for president. 96% of the contributions from the press corps, the D.C. press corps, went to Hillary Clinton in this past election. Okay, so let's just kind of lay the cards out with respect to all these objective scriveners that were assembled on Saturday night in D.C. It's silly. By the way, some of the news organizations are failing. I mean, just based on the numbers. Number one, in response to Mr. Mason. Number two, it's interesting about fake news. So the left can use that opprobrium to direct at people like me when I start community news outlets. That's what Eric Zorn, liberal, Chicago press corps denizen, said about my newspapers and others too on the left. But if
I'm trying to still get over opprobrium. Isn't that a gym, a workout gym?
It is, yeah. You should.
Where you do the bar chisel at the probrium?
They've got they've got great bar classes. You might want to check that out. But it's, Trump to go after CNN is fake news, MSNBC is fake news. That's a bridge too far. Look, I don't like the fake news argument. I think it's cheap. I think it's intellectually dishonest. It's not fake news. It's what Holman Jenkins writes about. It's not substantive. It's sob stories. It's sentimentality rather than costs and benefits of different policy choices. There are trade-offs in this life. That's how life works. There's opportunity cost to be paid by pursuing one path at the exclusion of the other. And now we need to have a sober conversation about those choices and those opportunity costs in the context of the challenges we face, most of which are self-inflicted. That's what he's talking about, and that's what the D.C. press corps doesn't do. It's all sob stories. It's all pulling of heartstrings, and that turns out to be a real problem for informing the public. The job that the Fourth Estate at these dinners says it takes so seriously, but it doesn't evince seriousness with the actual work product they produce. And, oh, by the way, that's why they're being marginalized by outlets that haven't been around for nearly as long as, say, the Gray Lady. That's what's actually happening that they don't want to comp to. And then this whole thing like Trump is undermining the press. The press is undermining the press. You can agree or disagree with Trump's invective towards the D.C. press corps, and I disagree with some of it. But, I mean, Trump isn't the problem. The press wasn't trusted before Donald Trump, and now they're trusted less, in part because they were so wrong.
Well, they do feel snubbed because this is the first president since 1981, Ronald Reagan, 36 years ago, who didn't attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And that's because Ronald Reagan had been shot. But he was at Camp David, and he did call into the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
But
they feel, slighted. And no celebrities were there. This was not a big deal. People that Paula Ferris normally goes, all those ladies from The View, they stayed home. All of the, country singers, nobody showed up except for the press.
Well, don't believe me. I mean, how about their featured comedian? He had flashes of seriousness, which were just to expose his kind of leftist addled thinking. But Hassan Minhaj, who is a correspondent from The Daily Show, is the featured comedian at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
That's what everyone went, who?
Right, yeah.
Who's that guy?
And by the way...
And he wasn't funny.
Well, but he was self-effacing on that score. Who is this guy?
No one wanted to do this. So, of course, it lands in the hands of an immigrant. It's how it always goes down. No one wanted this gig. No one. Don Rickles died just so you wouldn't ask him to do this gig, all right?
But now...
Now that's
not bad. But here, so here's
like him.
but here's Minaj when he turns his sights on the various press outlets represented at the dinner, the cable news in particular, and here's what he says to the press about the press.
I mean, unlike Anderson Cooper's bone structure, you guys have been far from perfect. Remember election night? I mean, that was your Steve Harvey Miss Universe moment. The look on your faces at 11 p.m. on election night, it was like walking into a Panera Bread and finding out your 6th grade teacher has a part-time job there. I was like, what? Mr. Leddington? I guess you don't have all the answers.
It was pretty good. I mean, so he had his moments. Let's give him his due. On MSNBC.
I had a lot more MSNBC jokes, but I don't want to just ramble on. Otherwise, I might get a show on MSNBC.
How about
that's funny.
that was pretty good. How about on CNN breaking news, quote unquote?
Tonight, CNN is here, baby. Now, you guys got some really weird trust issues going on with the public. I'm not going to call you fake news, but everything isn't breaking news. Yeah, you can't go to DEF CON 1 just because Sanjay Gupta found a new moisturizer.
On your girlfriend, Don Lemon?
Don, every time I watch your show, it feels like I'm watching a reality TV show. CNN Tonight should just be called, wait a second, now hold on, stop yelling at each other with Don Lemon.
And on Wolf Blitzer.
Just take an hour, figure out what you want to say, then go on the air.
It's so
But whenever I turn you guys on, it feels like a little kid just ran into the room and is trying to tell you a story. It's just like, there's a wall. It's a 1.4 billion. 1.4 billion. Paul Ryan. Breathe. Take a minute. Drink some milk. Then tell us the story, Wolf.
He nailed that. I've said that from day one. He's always nervous. He's jumping.
Right. It's breathlessly reporting pedestrian events.
Exactly.
Yeah. That aren't breaking,
that was good.
by the way. Mike on the north side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hey, Mike.
Mike.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I just want to say the press is on its last legs. They were a spoke in the Democratic wheel. They were an active participant in the last presidential election. We've got social media. We don't need you. Quit your whining. You thought you were special. You thought you should get special rights. Trump ought to go full bore now. He ought to move the White House briefing room out of the White House to the executive office building. Say, hey, we need the space. It's for security. Don't let the press get on Air Force One anymore. Let them ride coach with United. Let them fly commercial. And if they misbehave, they're going to get dragged off the airline.
Okay, thanks for the call, Mike. I mean, here's the
Mike's
thing.
a little rough this morning.
Well, here's the thing. It was very interesting. I want to get to Hassan Minhaj in his serious moments in a second, but Jeff Mason did concede a couple of points. Jeff Mason, Reuters White House correspondent,
In charge of that, yeah.
and White House Correspondents Association president. He did say this about the access to the White House and so forth.
With all of the tension in the relationship, that aspect is often overlooked. We have had several press conferences, repeated opportunities to see and report on the president's meetings, and with at least one notable and lamentable exception, good access to briefings with press staff and senior administration officials.
Wow, they said one nice thing about the Trump administration.
So good access. That's why this is one of the left's memes about Trump. This was Minhaj in his close after all the jokies were done. He had a Trump doesn't care about free speech thing.
What?
Listen to this argument that he makes.
And it's a sign to the rest of the world. It's this amazing tradition that shows the entire world that even the president is not beyond the reach of the First Amendment.
Can we clap here?
Yeah.
Everyone's
okay.
like, what?
I mean, it's all
But the
good
president didn't
until
show up.
Yeah.
Because Donald Trump doesn't care about free speech. The man who tweets everything that enters his head refuses to acknowledge the amendment that allows him to do it. Think about it. It's almost, what is it, 11? It's 11 p.m. right now. In 4 hours, Donald Trump will be tweeting about how bad Nicki Minaj bombed at this dinner. And he'll be doing it completely sober. And that's his right. And I'm proud that all of us are here tonight to defend that right.
Yeah, Trump doesn't defend that right. Trump doesn't acknowledge the First Amendment. This is one of the...
That's a stretch. That's a bold-faced lie.
Well, based on what? Where has he curtailed freedom of speech? Where has any conservative curtailed freedom of speech in the modern context? When we talk about college campuses, when we talk about the workplace, when we talk about political discourse, who is in the business of silencing whom? It's invariably the left. You can disagree or agree with what Donald Trump says about the media and anything else. Where has he suggested, where's he suggested that somebody doesn't have the right to criticize him? Or how is it exactly that your right to free speech is abridged by Donald Trump not showing up to your event? My right to free speech isn't real unless it's acknowledged by the President of the United States? How silly. How childish. But that's the left. So, Minaj had some good zingers on the press corps. He had some good insights into various outlets. But when he tried to get serious, he's just another bedwetting leftist who's beset by his own hypocrisy. And so is Jeff Mason, who's a real journalist, supposedly an adult. He's the president of the fracking association, and he's a White House correspondent for Reuters. And then you wonder why, with this lamentable and poisoned worldview, why you don't see kind of the even-handedness from the D.C. press corps, why you see sob stories instead of substance like Holman Jenkins wrote about. Robert in Bloomingdale, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, he made an eloquent speech at a couple of NRA events about the Second Amendment, but I haven't heard him any passion out of him about the First Amendment, even though, I support the guy.
Well, when there was that Women's March, the weekend of his inauguration, he tweeted out, that they have a right to protest, and we welcome the protesters.
I guess the flip side is where other than his dalliance with trying to make libel laws more restrictive, which he's wrong about, has he said much of anything about the First Amendment? He certainly hasn't advocated curtailing it, has he, Robert?
With the libel talk, yeah, some of the stuff he said about suing people is ridiculous.
I know.
Some of it he was right about.
I know. I just said that, but he hasn't moved on that. And otherwise, is he saying the press doesn't have a right to criticize him? Saying anybody doesn't have a right to criticize him?
No, but his passion about the Second Amendment, it's phony. Some of it's phony. Some of it, he's a panderer like any politician.
Well, there's some of that perhaps, or he's late to the dance on some of these issues. Yeah, as Charlton Heston famously said, the Second Amendment protects the First, so they're connected. But on the First Amendment, Robert, who do you think in present time poses the greatest threat to true freedom of speech or freedom of religion or freedom of assembly? Is it Donald Trump or is it the left?
I think it's the press. The left, yes, but the press is worse.
Okay. Thanks for the call, Robert.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community.
Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
There are two things every parent wants when their child goes to college: for their child to do well and a way to afford it. Now, with Discover Student Loans, parents can have the best of both worlds. Not only do our loans cover up to 100% of school-certified costs with zero fees, but we'll give them a cash reward for each new student loan if they earn at least a 3.0 GPA or equivalent. That means every A in history or B in math could help them earn a cash reward for good grades. Just one of the many ways we treat you like you'd treat you. Apply now in 15 minutes or less at discoverstudentloans.com. Limitations apply.
Hi, this is Jeff from Basement Flood Protector. Your sump pump is the only thing in your home standing in the way of water rushing in and damaging the personal belongings you care so deeply about. Yet it is often the most overlooked and unappreciated system in your home. Your car has a check engine light, your computer warns against viruses, and your fridge tells you when to change the filter. So why shouldn't a sump pump warn you if there's a risk of losing tens of thousands of dollars in water damage? A pump that just beeps warnings at you is no good if you don't hear it. Over the decades of our business, we have experienced and analyzed every reason why people's homes flood. With today's technology, we believe that flooding is not just unacceptable, it is now completely preventable. That's why today's best practice for flood prevention is to install a protector system with built-in self-testing and notification. We are Basement Flood Protector. Protecting homes from flooding is all we do. I invite you to call today at 800-238-0822 or visit don'tflood.com to learn more and for no-nonsense pricing. That's 800-238-0822 or don'tflood.com. Use the call letters of this station for a 5% discount.
Hey, you hear me talk about MyPillow all the time, but that's because a good night's sleep is so important to our health. And for May, because it is May 1st, you can still receive the 50% discount on the MyPillow 4-pack of 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows. Now, with MyPillow, you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need, regardless if you sleep on your back, your side, or your stomach. You'll get into deep sleep faster and stay there longer. No more waking up to a stiff neck or headache. And our good friend Mike Lindell manufactures them right here in America using only American labor. You can wash and dry your MyPillow. They're hypoallergenic. And, of course, you'll get the 10-year warranty with a 60-day money-back guarantee. And for May, get that 50% off the 4-pack by calling this number, 800-489-0201. Use the promo code Amy or visit MyPillow.com. Promo code Amy.
Go to where the pros go. McGrath Printing and Custom Apparel.
If you're a business owner with commercial printing needs, contact our friends at McGrath Printing Custom Apparel, proud supporters of AM 560 and Food for the Poor. McGrath takes care of all print and apparel needs for companies of all sizes. Chicago's biggest names in manufacturing, pharmaceutical, and medical choose McGrath Printing year after year for truly unmatched customer service and reliability. Mention AM 560 and receive 20% off your first order. That's right, 20% off by mentioning AM 560. For a quick quote, visit McGrathPrint.com, McGrathPrint.com, or call 815-356-5246. That's 815-356-5246. Go to where the pros go.
Go to where the pros go. McGrathPrint.com. McGrathPrint.com.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, the 100 Club of Chicago, that's the charity we're supporting through our annual golf outing. And coming up on Thursday, June 15th at the Bolingbrook Golf Club, the 100 Club's mission is to provide financial and education assistance to the families of fallen first responders, police officers, firefighters, EMTs. And here's how you can support this great cause. Become an AM 560 business benefactor. So what does that mean? Well, you'll purchase a foursome at our golf outing for $1,196, and AM 560 will give you 25 one-minute commercials that will air on this station. That's a $3,000 value. You'll reach AM 560's affluent, sophisticated audience of decision makers, and at the same time, you'll be helping the great work of the 100 Club. So pick up the phone and call Michael Mann. Michael Mann, call him right now, 847-871-1527. That's 847-871-1527. Enjoy a great day of golf, support a great charity, and reach new customers when you become a business benefactor. We have a few slots left. 847-871-1527.
Coming up.
Got those numbers, Dan?
Yeah, thank you for that. Coming up, we're going to talk to A.B. Stoddard from RealClearPolitics.com, also a Fox News contributor. We'll talk Trump's first 100 days at 6:36.
And later, a prom I wish I could have attended. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. 53 degrees. Today's May Day protests are expected to be larger than usual. Tens of thousands in cities across the country plan to rally against President Trump's crackdown on immigration. Labor groups are also intending to be out in force, they say, on a day that traditionally focuses on workers' rights. Parts of the South and Midwest reeling for violent storms that tore through the region over the weekend. Tornadoes, high winds, flooding have left 14 dead. In Tennessee, a 2-year-old girl killed by a heavy soccer goal post tossed by the winds. A 7-year-old electrocuted in a flooded area in Mississippi. Missouri Governor Eric Greitens says some of the flooding he has seen has surpassed historic levels.
There are certain places that have seen water levels several feet higher than any time in Missouri's recorded history. Some bridges and structures have already been washed out.
Dozens more injured by the violent weather. President Trump concedes his job is a challenge.
I love doing it. I'm, thoroughly enjoying it. It's always a challenge, like life itself is a challenge, but it's something that I really love, and I think I've done a very good job at it.
Appearing on CBS's Face the Nation, a Detroit police officer is in critical condition after being shot Sunday night, responding to a domestic dispute call. Meantime, police say officers shot and killed an armed man suspected of shooting 8 Sunday near an apartment complex pool in San Diego. Chicagoland coming off a wet and rainy weekend. Up to 3 inches of rain fell in spots. And if there is a river in the state of Illinois near you, there's a good chance it will flood this week, according to the National Weather Service. Charges are pending against a man accused of stabbing another man on the CTA Red Line train on Chicago's north side. Police say the attack happened yesterday morning on a train fast approaching the Addison station. Students in Illinois' largest school district will finish the year in class. Chicago Public School leaders over the weekend said they will not close schools early after a judge dismissed the CPS lawsuit against the state, saying the court is not the place to argue over school funding. Vice President Mike Pence weighing in with an opinion, calling a new submarine the best-named boat in the U.S. Navy. Former Indiana governor speaking before the christening ceremony of the USS Indiana.
Served as governor of the state of Indiana, I learned of this extraordinary boat, but I could not have well imagined that I would be standing before you today in this moment with the great privilege to be at this christening.
Stand proud, Hoosiers. You have the 16th Virginia-class fast attack submarine, the capability to attack targets ashore with accurate Tomahawk missiles. Navy officials say it is the 3rd ship in the Navy christened with the name Indiana. Red Sox over the Cubs 6-2. Tigers avoid the 3-game sweep, finally picking up a win over the White Sox in Detroit 7-3. The news service of Al Piemonte Ford. Stop before you buy your new car. You must visit Al Piemonte Ford now. Truckloads of new cars and trucks have just arrived, and everything is priced to sell quickly. Al Piemonte Ford is at 25th and North Avenue in Melrose Park. 6:33 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager sees support for Trump, even from the left.
Now on to Syria. It has transformed people's perceptions of Donald Trump around the world and the United States. And it has been widely praised by people on the left. And the reason is, it is almost impossible to know what happened and say we should do nothing.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Metra's 96% on-time dependability helps you get to work on time no matter what's happening on the roads. Find the station nearest you at metrorail.com.
When you get in your car, you program your destination into the GPS. You need the best directions to get to where you want to be. The same is true for retirement. You need a voice to guide you along the way. And in Chicago, that voice is Jack Taboda. Join Jack every Saturday morning at 7 right here on 560 The Answer. Jack's nearly 40 years of experience can help make your retirement journey feel like a drive down easy street. Take that first step. Tune in Saturday mornings at 7 for retirement planning with Jack Taboda of Taboda and Associates.
They're here, circling over your head, and they're tracking you down. You feel overwhelmed, like you can't escape. You need a solution to get your back taxes filed, to put your life back on track. You need someone who can keep the vultures at bay and work directly with the IRS to leverage every opportunity to settle your tax debt. Mary Karpowitz, CEO of Comprehensive Tax Solutions, is licensed to represent you before the IRS. Don't let the IRS threaten you. You should never need to speak to them directly. Mary does that for you. Comprehensive Tax Solutions will help you settle your entire IRS tax debt for up to 85% off the original amount owed, including penalties and interest if you qualify. Comprehensive Tax Solutions, family owned in Chicagoland, can be a lifesaver for you. Call 708-478-6770, 708-478-6770, or go to resolveyourtaxproblems.com. Call 708-478-6770 now.
It is 6:35. The news, a service of Live Nation, celebrating summer concert season with $20 concert tickets to over 1,000 shows. This offer won't last long. Buy your tickets May 2nd through May 9th. Don't miss out. Visit livenation.com now. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Telemonti.
Thanks, Mike and Lyle. 53 is closed between Park Boulevard and Butterfield due to flooding. Same true of 107th Street and Palos Hills between LaGrange Road and Keene. The Edens is 20 minutes like Cook to Montrose, outbound 19. The Kennedy, heavy 50 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 31. The Eisenhower is 50 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 33. Stevenson, 50 minutes, 355 to the drive. The Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. An earlier crash near 63rd has cleared. I-57, though, 35 minutes. I-80 to the merge, Bishop Ford, 25. Traffic is a service of Mattress Firm. Mattress Firm is collecting new clothes to help local foster kids look and feel their best. Join Mattress Firm in helping foster kids in your community by donating new clothes to a participating Mattress Firm store or donating online at mattressfirmfosterkids.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Cloudy, windy, couple of showers, high 56 today. 52 at O'Hare, 56 along the lake. 50 right now in Aurora with light rain showers falling. Next news coming up at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And while the D.C. press corps was rallying for itself and erecting strawman arguments,
stroking their own egos,
in between a little joking around, some of which was kind of funny. President Trump was in Harrisburg, PA, rallying the deplorables, as they were termed. And here's what he said about his first 100 days, adding a little context that you may have heard before from a previous president.
But to understand the historic progress that we've made, we must speak honestly about the situation that we and I inherited. Because believe me, the previous administration gave us a mess.
And he talked about taking the fight to sanctuary cities, keeping radical Islamic terrorists out of our country, what he's done in regulatory relief and putting people back to work, and his proposed tax plan, and the range of issues, and, of course, Neil Gorsuch, his confirmation to expect him to talk about. But I just, that line there about the mess he inherited, I don't find it particularly compelling for too long for a president to blame his predecessor. but I do find it delicious after 8 years of the left repeating what President Obama said to blame George W. Bush for everything that challenged the Obama administration, most of which was self-inflicted. I do find it's kind of enjoyable that President Trump is using the same tack that President Obama used. Be interesting to see the reaction you get to that from those in the left and the D.C. press corps. I repeat myself. And for more on this and the first 100 days, we're pleased to be joined by A.B. Stoddard, our friend, who's the associate editor and columnist at RealClearPolitics.com, and a Fox News contributor. A.B., thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And so what of the decision? Is this overblown? Is this navel-gazing by the D.C. press corps, President Trump's decision not to go to the Correspondents' Dinner on Saturday night? Does it really matter?
Well, I actually can tell you he was in Harrisburg telling the crowd that it was a bunch of D.C. elite media combined with Hollywood celebrities. There was no celebrities to be found. It's really interesting. And I actually thought that it was good to just focus the evening on a free press and the First Amendment protections and actually not have a president speak and then have a comedian make fun of him. So I think that the whole thing should shift away from celebrities and the president's appearance, and it should just be a dinner about, you know, keeping a free press and fighting for the truth and fighting lies and that kind of thing. I thought it was much more low-key, and I don't think models and stars should come.
Yeah,
the president should come either.
Well, they hijacked the event. I mean, I've seen it morph over the years where you'll have one celebrity and then, a decade later, now that's the cool thing to do. You want to be, there at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Did you attend the event?
Yes, I did, and it was definitely not cool. There wasn't a celebrity to be found.
So you like
Wolf
that?
Blitzer was there.
Oh.
No, I mean, he's a member of the media, guy.
I'm kidding.
We're kidding, but Don Lemon was there. No,
celebrity. That's part of the problem is, I mean, to continue your thread, AB, part of the problem is when these cable news anchors become celebrities or even contributors become celebrities, and then they think of themselves as celebrities, as provocateurs, not journalists.
Well, look, I think that, every one of us in the media is well aware of our reputation around the country. President Trump doesn't help us by saying they're a disgrace, they're dishonest, they're fake, and then secretly calling Maggie Haberman of the New York Times on his cell phone at night without his staff's permission. Okay? He needs the media. He loves the media. Should the media be careful about the way they behave, the facts they report, the tone that they use? All of that is their responsibility. I believe I tell the truth. I can only take care of myself. But and the comedian's message to us was, you have to up your game more than ever because he's out to get you. He's out to diminish and degrade a free press and erode more trust in institutions like the free press. And I think that, the media needs to be chastened by the fact that we are not trusted around the country. We need to up our game. But again, just because Donald Trump, who's obsessed with the media and wants to be at that dinner desperately, by the way, wants to run around and bash the media doesn't mean we need to pack it in and go home. I mean, every day we have to tell the truth. Every day we have to do our job correctly. A lot of us in the media could definitely use some improvement, but that doesn't mean in the age of a president who lies really just disturbingly frequently that we're just going to, go home. I mean, it's a real tension because he's working really hard to make sure that 4 years from now nobody believes anything.
Wow. So he marked the 100th day in office by being 100 miles away from D.C. and Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. What grade would you give him for his first 100 days?
Well, I think, that President Trump is struggling with the marker because he said it was really important. He had that contract with the voters and he was going to deliver this and that. There's an emergency session of Congress and, certainly the ACA, Obamacare will be repealed. There's a lot of promises that technically have not been delivered. He has not reached out to Democrats. He really hasn't tried. And he's dealing with a very divided, and the reason I mentioned Democrats is he's dealing with such a divided Republican Congress that it only emboldens the Democrats when, their divisions on the Republican side embolden the Democrats. He could actually, I think, pressure more Republicans by making some back channels with Democrats and working with them. And government spending deal that came out overnight is a testament. Liberal groups are saying this is proof that it's good to fight Trump because we got what we wanted and we backed him down. So that's an interesting thing for Republicans to consider and for President Trump to consider, is that not working with Democrats while they're so divided could, portend more problems down the road. I think that on foreign policy, he has leaned on these cabinet officials that everyone respects on both sides of the aisle and brought great comfort not only to the Republicans who support him, but to the people who don't support him in this town and around the country who really were afraid of whether or not he would consult H.R. McMaster, James Mattis, John Kelly, and Rex Tillerson. And there seems to be a cohesive team that's struggling to define actual long-term strategies in these different countries. But certainly, I think that he's trying very hard, and he's working in a concerted, manner in a team setting with these sort of, grown-ups that everyone reveals, particularly the defense secretary. So I think that has actually, earned him a lot of plaudits across the country with people who voted for him or didn't vote for him. I think that the fact that there's been a staggering decrease in border crossings is a huge win for him, and unfortunately it undercuts the need for a wall, and no one is interested in paying for a wall, but it is something for him to tout, no doubt. And I think that he has rolled back a lot of regulations, creating a lot of confidence in business and in people who own small businesses and in big businesses. We need to start hiring again. That the landscape will change. That obviously has to be followed up by real tax reform, and not just budget busting, deficit busting tax reform, but real reform, not just tax cuts. But the Republicans are hard at work on that, and Trump seems very committed to that and working very hard throughout his administration on that. Whereas maybe the original health care effort was kind of left to the Congress to implode. So I think he has things to tout for sure. He's in terms of his own supporters and the Republicans who are exposed in the midterm elections next year. Voters will need to feel something by November 18th in terms of their health care or their wages and their taxes, and that's why those things are so important.
And so what about Paul Ryan's grade? Because it seems to me Ryan is having trouble not just keeping Trump's promises, but keeping his own. And I point to the continuing resolution on Friday, which includes funding for Planned Parenthood, something that Paul Ryan said was a moral imperative to remove. Having difficulty whipping his caucus, even for, again, another example from last week, the Freedom Caucus endorses repeal 2.0, and he still, replace 2.0, I should say, and he still can't muster the votes, apparently, to call the question. It seems to me that Paul Ryan's leadership in the House is not measuring up to the times at this point.
That's an interesting thing about Paul Ryan. He inherited the same situation that John Boehner did, and although he was considered much more of a conservative insurgent himself, the author of the roadmap, someone who was calling for steep reforms in entitlements in order to shrink government and cut taxes. This man has inherited the very same conference with the very same problem. So, he can jump up and down and scream and shout, but those divisions between the Tuesday group of moderates, particularly on the issue of health care, and the Freedom Caucus are deep and they're real and they're not going away. I mean, they each side thinks the other side is crazy, and there's a lot of distrust politically, but also just on policy. They're worlds away, particularly on the issue of health care. And so, we can blame it on Paul Ryan, but no one wants to pass health care more than Paul Ryan. And the problem is that as the bill moved slightly more to the right, allowing the new bill, allowing more flexibility to the states in order to pick up votes from the Freedom Caucus, more moderates were scared off from it because they just genuinely believe they'll be left holding the bag next year at election time, having voted for something that will either threaten coverage for people with pre-existing conditions or definitely spike the prices of coverage for people with pre-existing conditions, and that they will at Paul Ryan's behest and everyone's behest, President Trump's, taken a vote that died in the Senate. And House members, whether you think that's, wimpy or not, don't want to take a vote on something that will just become toxic and go off to the Senate side. The whole health care thing needs to be taken out of Paul Ryan's hands. It needs to begin in the Senate, where it's ultimately going to be, where the bill is ultimately going to change. And it needs to come over to the House. And my personal feeling is that the House should just pass a shell bill, like let's repeal the medical device tax and let's, do some small things. Send it over and then let the Senate sign it. No bill will get to President Trump's desk if it's just a Freedom Caucus bill from the House. So it has to be something that is going to work through the Senate and then can come back to the House and then get to Trump's desk.
All right. She is A.B. Stoddard, Associate Editor and columnist at RealClearPolitics.com, as well as a Fox News contributor. A.B., thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Facebook does an about-face on fake news. Wages grow in the first quarter. Those stories next. Are you being intimidated by the IRS? Rapid Resolution Tax Group is a team of tax attorneys, enrolled agents, and tax professionals who've helped thousands of people with problems just like yours, and they promise not to let the IRS intimidate you. If you are an individual or business who owes at least $10,000 to the IRS, you can turn to them for help. Has your bank account been levied? Do you have years of unfiled tax returns? Let Rapid Resolution Tax Group intervene for you. They're accredited with and A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they guarantee same-day contact with the IRS. If you qualify, Rapid Resolution Tax Group can work towards settling your tax debt for less, removing penalties and fees, and stopping levies and garnishments. Call the professionals at Rapid Resolution Tax Group at 800-601-2929. That's 800-601-2929. Facebook doing an about-face. CEO Mark Zuckerberg said last November it was crazy to think fake news on his site had any influence on the presidential election. He now says governments are using the site in ways that could affect voting. Facebook officials saying company security will now monitor carefully any efforts that would harm civic discourse. Economic updates due today, including reports on construction spending and the weekly index of manufacturing. The Labor Department reporting first quarter wages and benefits paid to civilian workers grew steadily. Total compensation up 0.8%. Harvesting the apple orchards of Washington State requires thousands of farm workers, many of them illegal immigrants. That could change. At least 2 companies now are working on robotic fruit picking machines. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gevalis, Joshi, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Hey, how would you like to have insurance for your computer network? Something to protect your hardware and software and, more importantly, give you peace of mind. Well, using Turnkey IT for installation and support of your system is like having insurance for your computer network. For one affordable monthly payment, your company gets a full team of certified technicians who are there for you, working in the background to ensure your systems are up and running. They'll help you over the phone and make house calls to your workplace. And Turnkey IT doesn't wait until there's an emergency call, because they work hard to take preventative measures, keeping networks secure, backed up, and running nonstop. Turnkey IT can protect your network with Turnkey Experience, where everything is included: Office 365 hosting, advanced network protection, cloud backup, disaster recovery, and unlimited remote and on-site support. So really, find out what Turnkey IT can do for your company today. It's easy. Visit turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
Acme Home Insurance.
Yes, I'd like to make a claim.
What are you wanting to claim, sir?
My air conditioner broke down.
Sorry, but your home insurance doesn't cover air conditioner breakdowns.
So, what do you cover?
Home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse? But that'll never happen.
But if it did, you'd be covered, sir.
But not my air conditioner?
I'm afraid not.
But his air conditioner could have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus components of 20 other major home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, refrigerator, and more. For valuable free information, call 1-800-617-4432. Home insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Life happens. Have a plan. Get a home warranty from American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-617-4432. That's 1-800-617-4432. 1-800-617-4432.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I found out several years ago that I have hepatitis C, and I didn't want to be one of those guinea pigs that the doctors wanted to try all sorts of different things on. So I was looking for a more healthy alternative, and that's how I found Balance of Nature. I have had absolutely no symptoms since I started taking Balance of Nature. Within 3 months, my liver enzymes were next to normal, and they had been very highly elevated. I enjoy a very full life. I own several businesses and working 60 hours a week, and before I started taking Balance of Nature, I couldn't even work full time.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
If you're an unincorporated business owner, it's too late for you. That is, if you've already been sued and lost your home, your car, and your family's life savings. But if you haven't been sued yet, there is still time to incorporate and protect your personal assets. And if you do it right now, you can incorporate in just 10 minutes, because Incorporate.com is now giving away a free incorporation guide to all business owners. For your free 10-minute incorporation guide, call now. 1-800-400-4817. Incorporation is the shield that protects your personal assets. Without it, you could lose everything. That's why at Incorporate.com, they just make incorporating or forming an LLC quick and easy. They don't provide legal or financial advice. If someone sues tomorrow, will you lose everything? Don't wait until it's too late. Hurry and call now for your free 10-minute incorporation guide while they're still giving them away for free. Call 1-800-400-4817. That's 1-800-400-4817. 1-800-400-4817.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
It takes a lot of courage to face your own death, but I'm glad I finally did. See, I was putting off getting life insurance to protect my family, even though I knew it was important. Then my neighbor's husband died. I watched her struggle emotionally and financially. It really made me face reality. If my husband died, how would I pay the mortgage, the car payments, or keep up the life the kids and I had? I realized I needed to get us life insurance right away. So I called AIG Direct. In less than 5 minutes, I had a quote. I was shocked at how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. I feel so much better knowing my family has protection.
Call AIG Direct right now for a free no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you can save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-500-5236. That's 1-800-500-5236. 1-800-500-5236.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, you know I'm a sucker for romance.
Oh, yeah, you love love stories.
I
Harlequin
love
romances.
and I love people in love.
Nothing
And
makes you happier.
this is a great 21st century story of romance and selflessness. A sad story, a poignant story, but an inspired story nonetheless. Nevada couple, Christina and Benno Kaiser, 31 and 37 respectively, are getting divorced after 12 years of marriage.
Oh, no.
That sounds bad, but wait for it. It's selflessness. It's sacrifice. They're getting divorced so their mutual girlfriend won't get jealous and that they can collectively maintain the legal rights to Christina and Benno's 3 children. Isn't that nice?
Wait, who's got the kids together?
Cristino and Benno, who are getting divorced, so that they don't make their mutual girlfriend jealous.
Oh,
they
okay.
they want to maintain equality, third, and a third, equality of guardianship over Christina and Benno's 3 children. Good luck for those 3 children being raised there. But I understand. I know. Life is all about who you love and who loves you back, right? Supporters of redefinition. This is where it goes.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, how would it look to have a self-admitted killer in the White House?
And Richard Dreyfuss knows the preamble to the Constitution. Do you? 707.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, heavy rains bringing flash flooding and flood warnings to the entire state. Large crowds expected to hit the streets in Chicago today for May Day parades and rallies. Tigers top the White Sox. Red Sox get by the Cubs on a cloudy and windy day. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony.
You wouldn't know it from watching the news. America is winning, and President Trump is making America great again.
And if that sounds like a campaign ad, it is. From Donald Trump for president, putting out a commercial airing across the U.S. detailing his first 100 days successes. The president himself told CBS.
It's something that I really love, and I think I've done a very good job at it.
But Democratic Senate Leader Chuck Schumer says he's hardly been a success.
He campaigned as a populist against the Democratic and Republican establishments, but he's governing like someone from the hard right, wealthy special interests.
Leading House Democrat Nancy Pelosi says she never thought she'd wish for President Bush again. Republicans and Democrats have worked out a deal on a spending bill. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, the $1 trillion plus package is a compromise to keep the government running through the end of September. There's no money for the southern border wall, but there is a sizable down payment on President Trump's request to boost the military. Republican Congressman Ron DeSantis is disappointed the GOP isn't getting more of what it wanted.
Now we have unified Republican control. How is this materially different than what's been going on?
The measure does not include cuts to sanctuary cities or to Planned Parenthood. Lawmakers could vote on the plan as soon as Wednesday. Dave.
Rachel, a woman is dead. 6 other people in critical condition after they were shot at a birthday pool party in San Diego.
He was sitting relaxed in one of the pool chairs with a beer in one hand and a gun in the other.
Police killed the shooter when he pointed a gun at them. 4 people are dead in a shooting at a home in Topeka, Kansas, including the gunman. Police say he shot himself. A police officer is very critical in Detroit after he was shot in the head last night responding to a domestic dispute. Officers killed the gunman. There's a ton of tornado damage, miles long and wide, to clean up around Canton, Texas.
It hit so hard, so fast. And it just kept moving.
4 people were killed in the storms in Texas. 10 others died in storms and floods in Arkansas, Mississippi, Missouri, and Tennessee. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
52 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. Winds are north at about 10 miles an hour at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. I'm Mike Scott. A wet, rainy weekend leads to flooding in the area. Strong winds also struck the area at times. Gusts as high as 55 miles an hour knocked down some trees and limbs. And if there's a river near you in the state of Illinois, there is a chance it will flood this week. The National Weather Service is posting flood watches and warnings over the entire state. A road shut down after a major sinkhole opens up on Chicago's north side. Hole located at Broadway and Roscoe. Broadway is closed between Belmont and Hawthorne. CTA buses have been rerouted in both directions. Large crowds are expected to hit the streets of Chicago today to mark May Day. Thousands are expected to march, rallying and protest for what is known as International Workers' Day. Charges are pending against a man accused of stabbing another man on a CTA Red Line train on the north side. It happened, according to police, yesterday morning on a train approaching the Addison station. Suspect tried to run from police at the station but was eventually caught. 3 Cook County jail inmates accused of attacking 2 correctional officers last week are being held without bond. The trio appeared in court yesterday on multiple charges. Surveillance video captured the suspects attacking the officers last week in the maximum security section of the jail. Prosecutors say a South Elgin nurse is facing felony charges and is accused of stealing 60 sensitive and personal photographs and 6 videos from a patient's cell phone. Naperville Sun reporting 33-year-old Mark Luis is charged with non-consensual dissemination of private sexual images and computer tampering. He's a former nurse at Central DuPage Hospital. DuPage prosecutors say the female patient from Naperville discovered the photos and videos were stolen when she got home, and her phone showed the items were sent to a phone number that she did not recognize. Red Sox over the Cubs 6-2. Tigers over the White Sox 7-3. The news a service of Live Nation. Live Nation celebrating summer concert season with $20 concert tickets to over 1,000 shows. This offer won't last long. Buy your tickets through May 2nd through May 9th. Don't miss out. Visit livenation.com now. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity believes a line was crossed.
I don't want America to be the world's policeman either. But we certainly have the military technology and the ability and the strength and hopefully the moral commitment that if we see dead kids from chemical weapons, maybe we have to do a little something to stop it. Especially considering we were promised, there's no such thing as chemical weapons inside of Syria.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Summer involves a lot of driving to camp, to work, to soccer, back home to grab what they forgot, and then back to soccer again. So wouldn't you like to know your car is up for it? Enter Hum by Verizon. Now you can check your car's health from your phone with vehicle diagnostics, drive with more peace of mind thanks to 24/7 emergency assistance, and let the kids stream and game on the go with your car's own Wi-Fi hotspot. Get Hum and get where you're going. Learn more at hum.com. Verizon Wi-Fi available on HumX only. Data usage applies. Coverage not available everywhere. Visit vzw.com for availability.
Buying a new tractor? You owe it to yourself to visit your LS Tractor dealer. LS Tractors give you a lot more tractor for less money compared to other brands. For starters, LS Tractor comes with more select features as standard equipment. They make operating your tractor easier with better performance to get more work done quicker. Compare and you'll know who gives you more tractor for your money. LS Tractor. Excel in your field. Learn more at lstractorusa.com.
Visit Abbey Equipment in Streeter and get more tractor.
7:06. Let's check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Kennedy is really heavy now. It's slow all the way in. An hour and 17 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 38 minutes from Montrose. Same in the Express. The locals outbound 36 minutes downtown to O'Hare. The Edens is 26 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 19. The Eisenhower, 50-minute drive. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 33 minutes. Stevenson, 52 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound okay. There are big delays farther south with a northbound crash before Weber in the left lane. Ryan is 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-States, though, 95th to Archer. Plainfield Road to 47th, and from the Reagan Tollway to 290. But Adams Tollway heavy approaching the River Road Toll. The Reagan Tollway is fine. Veterans Memorial, little slow approaching the Reagan Tollway. We have a flood-related closure in Lyle of 53 between Park and Butterfield. A few other closures in the southwest suburbs. And some delays on the Milwaukee North Line. There's a train stopped at Lake Forest with mechanical failure. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, cloudy and windy with a couple of showers, high 56. Overcast and breezy tonight with a passing shower, low 41. Mostly cloudy and becoming increasingly windy tomorrow with a high 54 and a low 36. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
52 at O'Hare. Next news at 7:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Do you know the preamble to the Constitution? Can you recite it? Richard Dreyfuss can. I'll tell you what. I'll give my undying gratitude and hat tip. How about that?
Okay.
Pretty attractive prize package I put together. My undying gratitude and a Twitter hat tip to the first person.
I can sing it.
To the first person who calls.
Do they have to sing it or just say it?
You can sing it or say it. 312-642-5600 turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636DA turnkey.pro text line.
You want them to text in the preamble to the Constitution?
Yes, if you want. If you're
Please,
shy.
I hope you're not driving.
If you're shy.
And don't do cut and paste.
Yeah, you can text it in. Preamble to the United States Constitution. It's important. It's important to remember your first principles, isn't it? Can you really sing the whole thing?
We the people of United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice and a life liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish.
Stop! We got a call in. We got a call in here. It's too much, and also that's wrong. You're missing parts, and you're off.
Oh
key.
my gosh! First of all, that was in the key of G, and I was not off. It was a little pitchy.
So the key of Kenny
I'll
G.
give you At least he brings loves to planes instead of fights.
The reason I ask is because
Yes.
this was a point of discussion on Tucker Carlson's show with none other than Richard. We're going to need a bigger boat, Dreyfuss. Richard
We're gonna
Dreyfuss.
need a bigger boat.
Richard Dreyfuss is a constitutionalist. Who knew? Maybe this Hollywood celebrity should have been addressing the White House Correspondents' Dinner on Saturday night. Here is the purpose of Dreyfuss's discussion with Tucker Carlson initially was Dreyfuss had emailed Tucker because he wanted to come on to talk about the ruling on sanctuary city funding, because Dreyfuss has this whole Dreyfuss initiative about the Constitution and teaching civics in K through 12 public schools in this country. Oh, probably not a bad idea. Listen to what. So they got past the sanctuary city thing. That's less important. Listen to Dreyfuss talking about freedom of thought and speech, say on college campuses, since that's in the news.
Totally, incontrovertibly on your side about this. I think that any intrusion into the freedom of speech is an intrusion into freedom of speech. And when one of the presidents of one of the colleges said, this is a school, not a battlefield, I said, no, it is a battlefield of ideas, and we must have dissenting opinions on campuses, and I think it's political correctness taken to a nightmarish point of view.
Yeah. And
Richard Dreyfuss.
How about it? And this is what he's talking about. How about this little anecdote from Dartmouth University, which gave us both Bruce Rauner and Karen Lewis. So that is, a lot of
Strange juxtaposition.
Well, it's a lot of intellectual variety,
Alumni?
isn't it?
Yeah.
In a campus-wide field survey on the campus of Dartmouth College, one of the elite Ivy League schools, students of all political stripes were asked how comfortable they would be about living with a roommate who holds opposing political views. 432 students surveyed. Only 39% of students who identified as Democrats said they would feel comfortable living with a Republican. 45%, a plurality, said they feel uncomfortable. By contrast, a majority of students who identified as Republican, 69%, said they would be comfortable living with someone of opposing political views. Only 12% say they feel uncomfortable. So by a 3-2, they'd feel, well, actually more than that, almost 2-1, Republican to Democrat, they feel comfortable living with somebody with opposing political views. And in terms of uncomfortable, by a factor of 3-1, Democrats to Republicans would feel uncomfortable living with someone of opposing political views. In other words, Democrats are, self-identified Democrats, particularly intolerant. Independents, self-identified independents, 61% said they'd feel comfortable living with someone with opposing views, and 16% were uncomfortable. So it turns out Republicans on this score, this metric, are the most tolerant of all. Now this is a small group sample, just self-identified Republicans, Independents, Democrats on the campus of Dartmouth. But it is a liberal Ivy League school. It's a liberal campus. And it does say something about those who preach tolerance and practice the opposite, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oxford University, we talked about this last week. This is what we're talking about. It's almost where yogiisms become the actual talking points of the left.
Oh, is this that if you look someone in the eye, you're racist? Or
Right.
if you don't look them in
Don't look them in the eye.
So don't make eye contact.
If you
That's against everything I teach every day to my kids.
No, if you don't make eye contact, you're racist.
Oh, okay.
Right. That's what Oxford University. That was in a list of racial microaggressions criticized as that was criticized as being kind of a soft form of racism. The university has since apologized for characterizing the lack of eye contact as subtle everyday racism. Why? You think, oh, they realize how silly that is? No. This is the way you have to attack the left. You have to be more ridiculous in terms of identity politics than they're being with whatever their pronouncement is. That's the only way you get them to walk back in their identity politics. Go further in that direction. They walked it back in and apologized because it's discrimination against autistic people. One sign of autism is avoiding eye contact.
Oh.
And so they got shamed by
the autistic community.
And I don't even know if this is somebody made that point to highlight how absurd Oxford was being with this whole eye contact business, or if they were really serious about it. But either way, that's what prompted Oxford to walk back in. Lack of eye contact is a sign of everyday racism. This is the deep thinking that's going on in some of our elite universities the world over. Good piece, by the way, in the Wall Street Journal over the weekend by Harry Silvergate, who is a co-founder of the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education, about how Trump and Congress can actually help restore free speech on college campuses. You'll remember that a lot of colleges receive a good deal of federal financial support. And so Mr. Silvergate writes that, among other things, the law currently conditions federal funding on compliance with federal anti-discrimination laws, such as Title IX funding. But it doesn't require schools, even public universities bound by the First Amendment, to refrain from violating free speech rights as a condition of funding. And that is something that President Trump and Congress could advance in order to provide more freedom of speech on college campuses, put the purse strings to it. So an interesting thought. Getting back to Richard Dreyfuss and talking about civic education, because perhaps one of the things that's happening at the collegiate level is you have these students that are not steeped in the founding principles of our representative republic, and so they think that it's perfectly okay to silence someone with whom they disagree. And this is the point Dreyfuss was making as part of his initiative, as he explained to Tucker Carlson.
Civics has not been taught in the American public school system since 1970. And that means that everyone in Congress never studied the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, as you and I might have. And that is a critical flaw, because it's why we were admired and respected for so long. It gives us our national identity. It tells the world who we are and why we are who we are. And without a frame that gives us the values that stand behind the Bill of Rights, we're just floating in air, and our sectors of society are not connected.
Well,
and
that's
why
exactly right.
Teaching civics, and I'm so glad you said that, because what's really important, Tucker, is that the assumptions of the left and the right are all skewed wrong. We have to find areas of agreement and areas that we share. And we do share the notion that education accomplishes certain things. One, it turns students into citizens.
Right.
And two, it teaches students how to run the country before it's their turn to run the country. And three, it teaches the values of this nation.
Well, I find it very difficult to disagree with much of what Richard Dreyfuss had to say, and the importance of civics education at the K through 12 level, which of course is not happening for poor, young, impressionable Peyton and Eli.
No, it's not. But civics, can begin in the home too.
Well, there's no
Need
question.
teachers to do everything. But I know what the kids are learning. It's frightening right now. They have a Frederick Douglass chapter that they're reading right now and writing about him.
Okay.
And then my oldest son had to write an argumentative discussion, and he chose to stick up for Planned Parenthood, which was okay. So, well, what about a countering view? And I offered you to speak with him, and I gave him your cell phone and email, and he said, no, our teacher doesn't want that. I said, no, but you need that. One side, he said, no, I'm just presenting this side. I said, well, who in your class is presenting opposition to your side? And he said, nobody.
Right.
I'm like, well, that's not a debate.
No,
that's brainwashing.
Well, Mom, that you don't understand. We're at Blaine to be indoctrinated. We're not supposed to be independent thinkers. We're not supposed to be intellectually curious. We're not supposed to understand the founding principles of the country as memorialized in our founding documents. I mean, listen to Richard Dreyfuss, right?
Yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss of Hollywood talking about founding values of the country. Note the values he cites and the values of the left in the modern context that are totally absent.
People come from all over the world or are born into this nation without the values that we have here. That's why they came here, to get them. And what are they? You can put them in opportunity, rise by merit, and mobility and freedom. That's what we sell. And if you don't want that, you've chosen the wrong place. And you don't get a pass by being born here. You have to learn it. Even the 10 Commandments are not known at birth. You must learn them. And we must learn our values. And if we don't, we are fatally wounding ourselves.
Opportunity, meritocracy, mobility, and freedom. Is there anything about identity politics? Is there anything about entitlement? Is there anything about the right to not be offended? Is there anything about the right to other people's labor for the purposes of my education, my health insurance, my whatever I want? Nothing in there. And Richard Dreyfuss is exactly right.
Has he always been a conservative or maybe even a moderate Republican?
He calls himself. He doesn't.
Is he an independent?
He calls himself a constitutionalist. He doesn't affiliate with either party. I'm fine. I'm fine with more constitutionalists and less that are partisan affiliated, as long as that's they're moving into the constitutionalist camp. All right. Since nobody took me up on my offer, we got a bunch of ignoramuses listening today, apparently.
What do you mean?
They don't know the preamble.
Well, somebody texted it in, right?
No.
There's not enough characters allowed. Did anybody? Let's see.
There's not enough characters allowed.
I mean, how many?
No character limit.
We don't have a character limit on our text line?
Yeah.
We did. And I sang the words wrong, by the way.
I know you did. I already said you left a bunch of stuff out.
Yeah.
I could recite it, but of course I know it.
Well, of course.
That's not that's not interesting.
Those were your first words. I mean, string of words together when you were, 6 months old?
Yeah.
You
thank
your mom and dad.
Thank baby Einstein for that.
We the people of the United States.
Ralph and Rantoul, can you recite the preamble?
Not by memory, but I do carry it around with me 24/7 on my phone. It's first of all nice hearing Richard Dreyfuss talk without screaming. It's a different.
That's true.
Richard Dreyfuss.
That's true. Although he didn't scream in Mr. Holland's opus, he did not scream.
Yeah, I can't say that I have his full catalog.
Yeah, okay.
Viewed. But what I would add that was missing is also the principle of property ownership, real property, because taking away that kind of foundational principle, the founders of our land, as they were writing the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and all of that, underneath all of that was this idea that if people did not own their property, that this nation would in fact not grow and prosper, because that was so different from the landed gentry and the lords and the kings and the queens that owned all real property all across Europe. And this was a really big, grand experiment. And that was, of course, why they were encouraged to go west and given, there are all kinds of programs.
Yes, private property rights are a cornerstone of Western civilization. Absolutely. There's no question. Thanks for the call, Ralph. Here's the thing. Here's what they're actually being taught. So Richard Dreyfuss, talking about the Constitution, who's an actor. Here's Noam Chomsky. in an interview on Democracy Now!, one of, the MIT linguistics professor, one of the leading intellectual lights of the left for the last 60 years, was all supposed to kneel before Noam Chomsky and his dizzying intellect. Listen to what he calls the greatest threat in the world ever.
The Republican Party, you said, is the most dangerous organization in world history. Can you explain? I also said that it's an extremely outrageous statement. But the question is whether it's true. I mean, has there ever been an organization in human history that is dedicated with such commitment to the destruction of organized human life on Earth? Not that I'm aware of. Is the Republican organization, I hesitate to call it a party, committed to that? Overwhelmingly. There isn't even any question about it.
Yeah, there's no question. The debate's over, and you know why?
We'll let him out of the home anyway.
Well, you know why the Republican Party is the organization most committed to the destruction of human life in world history. In world history.
Not U.S. history. In world history. Okay, it's a little off.
Because there's conservatives, a lot of Republicans don't want to sign on to the Paris Climate Accord.
Oh.
Because they don't.
That was his reason.
It's all about climate change. I mean, seriously.
Look at Joanne. She knows the preamble.
Amish texter. I mean, it's so rare when the Amish texter gets access to a phone.
He lives in Huntley.
Amish texter who just got back from that prom with the chain smokers.
Mm-hmm.
Amish texter, do you know the preamble?
Of course I do. Re-signing the Constitution is going to get me to call in. We the people, in order for a perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Thank you.
Annie churns butter, this guy.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Amish.
And wears straw hat.
Amish texter, I salute you. We salute you. And Amy is going to try and sing on key later.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
There's no feeling like grabbing a seat in a comfy chair to look through memories in a photo album. It's so much more enjoyable than looking at a computer or the small screen of a smartphone. An album of photos will last a lifetime. They can't be erased or become victim of a crashed hard drive. Print your photo memories at oneclickpics.com, your online photo center. Whether they're for an album, a gift, or framed for display, you want the very best quality. You can get that from the photo experts at oneclickpics.com. OneClickPics.com is a professional photo printer. You'll be amazed at the quality of your pictures, canvas prints, invitations, or announcements. You'll see details in your photos you've never seen before. And right now, when you buy 25 printed photo cards, you get 15 free. Use promo code 15FREE at checkout. Trust your digital picture memories to the photo technicians trained in every aspect of digital photo production. OneClickPics.com. OneClickPix.com.
Upstream-ideas.com, premium content that complements what we do on this show over at our digital platform, including this week featured interview on Against the Current with Andrew Broy from the Illinois Network of Charter Schools. Why are charter schools successful substantively but are flailing politically? He answers that question and many more, along with Follow the Logic, Man in the Street interviews this week about CPS funding. Too much, too little, or just about right? 2-minute warnings, 60-second commentaries from yours truly, podcast for Illinois Rising program, which covers state policy and politics. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Need a new CPAP? Then we need you. We're CPAP.com, and we recently overstocked the world's best CPAP machines. Top-of-the-line devices from brands like ResMed and Philips Respironics. Call now and get one of these overstocked CPAPs for a fraction of the price. We'll even give you free next-day air shipping. Call 1-800-500-5671. The best part? No insurance needed. We're giving out these CPAPs at prices so low, they'll cost less than your copay and deductible through insurance. CPAP.com has shipped over 1 million orders and has the world's largest selection of CPAPs and accessories. With no retail overhead or costly middlemen, we're the best way to get comfortable, effective sleep apnea equipment at incredibly low prices. Again, CPAP.com has overstocked premium CPAPs. Call now to get a ResMed or Philips Respironics machine for a fraction of the price with free next-day air shipping. Call 1-800-500-5671. Hurry. When these overstocked CPAPs are gone, they're really gone. That's 1-800-500-5671.
LPS Corporation in Franklin Park is proud to support Food for the Poor and AM 560 The Answer. LPS Corporation sells and services meat processing equipment for supermarkets and packing houses throughout the Chicagoland area. They also offer a wide assortment of handcrafted, quality seasonings and marinades to add just the right flavor to your culinary creations. From grinding, stuffing, mixing, and slicing to flavoring meats and packaging meats, LPS Corporation does it all. They also have free training classes that teach you how to create delicious sausage, salami, lunch meats, and more using authentic Italian products and taught by technicians from Italy. LPS Corporation, food processing equipment, supplies, and service to help your supermarket or packing house run efficiently each and every day. For more info, call 847-451-2222 or visit them in Franklin Park at 2308 17th Street. Choose LPS Corporation for meat processing equipment, supplies, and service.
When you have sleep apnea, traveling can be a real drag because you have to drag your big, bulky home CPAP device with you everywhere you go. But not anymore. Now you can travel easily and sleep comfortably anywhere thanks to Transcend, the world's very first mini CPAP. And right now, you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. So call now. 1-800-400-1841. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. You can even add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so incredibly small and light, you can easily fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't delay. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-400-1841. Again, that's 1-800-400-1841.
AM 560, The Answer.
We the people. There it is. Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock.
Make sure.
Yeah.
Have the chest to say.
You know the difference between that and your version?
Mine was wrong.
This is on key.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to the cow guy, Scott Shellady, Fox Business contributor, about the market reaction to Trump's tax proposal at 7:37.
And later, a prom that Dan would have loved to attend. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Well, he wasn't far away. It was within striking distance of the well-appointed condo, 52 outside. And we're seeing a peek at the sun right now in between the raindrops. We're also watching developments in Washington, D.C. Members of the House and Senate are expected to vote as early as Wednesday on a newly minted $1 trillion catch-all spending bill. It will bankroll most government operations through the end of September. Big compromises and concessions made on both sides, Democrats and Republicans, as they came to an accord late last night. President Trump attacking the Senate's top Democrat today, Chuck Schumer, as a bad leader. The president also suggested that congressional Republicans are learning how to govern in the majority and will eventually unite. Trump making his remarks during an interview on CBS this morning. SpaceX launches a top-secret spy satellite for the U.S. government. The unmanned Falcon 9 rocket lifted off Monday morning from its NASA-leased pad at the Kennedy Space Center. 14 are dead, dozens more hurt after a large portion of the South and Midwest battered by powerful storms. East of Dallas, folks digging out after 4 tornadoes over the weekend. Glenda Schaefer of Canton, Texas, could hear her floor popping as the trees fell outside.
It was the scariest thing, literally, that I believe I've ever experienced in my entire life.
Meantime, the death of a north central Arkansas fire chief struck by a vehicle while heavy thunderstorms moved through the state is being included in the state's count of weather-related fatalities, bringing the Arkansas death toll to 5. 2 people, including the shooter, are now dead, 7 wounded, some critically, after a man began shooting in a San Diego apartment complex. Witnesses say the man started shooting at about 30 gathered around a swimming pool yesterday evening. Chicagoland coming off a wet and rainy weekend. The National Weather Service says up to 3 inches of rain, fell across parts of the southwest suburbs. And if there's a river in the state of Illinois near you, there is a chance, according to the National Weather Service, it will flood this week. Large crowds expected to hit the streets of Chicago today, marking May Day, rallying near Haymarket Square and Union Park. Chicago sports, Red Sox beat the Cubs 6-2. Tigers over the White Sox 7-3 in Detroit. The news is a service of Live Nation. Live Nation celebrating summer concert season with $20 concert tickets to over 1,000 shows. This offer won't last long. Buy your tickets May 2nd through May 9th. Don't miss out. Visit livenation.com. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
By now, you've had your chance to watch the mainstream media do everything they can to destroy President Donald Trump. Any pretense of being fair and impartial is now history. While all these years they were playing a game trying to disguise their true intentions, now it's simply Katie bar the door. Certain networks seem to have abandoned whatever journalistic credibility they once held dear. So what to do? Where do you turn? How can you know what's really going on? Just keep it right here. We'll get you through. AM 560, The Answer.
Start your day on the right track and take Metra. Metra's 96% on-time dependability helps you get where you're going on time no matter what's happening on the roads. Visit metrorail.com. Harvey owns a building and wants to save money by making his heating and cooling system more energy efficient.
Yes.
But Harvey's afraid of the cost and if he can get a return on his investment.
I am indeed.
Plus, he's nervous about disrupting the businesses that rent space in his building. Harvey doesn't know what to do with an HVAC system that's seen better days. The Air Comfort problem solvers to the rescue. Working as a team, the Air Comfort professionals find simple solutions that make a huge impact on building efficiency and operating costs with minimal or no disruptions to building operations. HVAC upgrades and retrofits from Air Comfort can save thousands of dollars per year. They save energy, reduce maintenance, and eliminate downtime. And buildings with better energy ratings command higher rents and selling prices and make tenants happy. Get real solutions from the Air Comfort team of problem solvers. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com and start saving money today. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
7:36 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Inbound Eden's delays start around 2E. It's 33 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 26th. Kennedy, an hour and 7 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Quicker in the locals than the express. Outbound 48 minutes to the airport, the Eisenhower. An hour and 14 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. 49 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 50 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Big delays farther south after a crash at 176. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, traffic is heavy, Harlem to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Southbound slow, Washington to 137, Veterans Memorial, bumper to bumper, Boughton to the Reagan Tollway. Traffic is a service of Lowe's. Pro customers at Lowe's save 5% on every purchase every day when you use your Lowe's Business Credit Account. That's 5% on all purchases in-store or online. Subject to credit approval, U.S. only. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Cloudy, windy, couple of showers, even a peek at the sun this morning, high 56. Currently 52 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Radio Garden Sense, a show bringing your property's gardening needs alive. Radio Garden Sense, Sunday mornings at 11 on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, it is Civics Day at AM 560 on Chicago's Morning Answer because of Richard Dreyfuss.
Right.
His impassioned defense of civics and our founding documents and our first principles. And so before we get to Scott here, let's go to Craig and McHenry real quick. Hey, Craig, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. Just wanted to kind of let you know that, first of all, I would not let my son do that unchallenged in some way. I found out if he had to pick from a list of topics.
You're talking about Amy's son doing a presentation in
On
support of Planned Parenthood and no opposition being allowed.
come up?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, was it given to him, or was there a list that they had to pick from? I'd start digging. I'm the kind of father who's going to fight back against all of this. My son is actually going to do an end-of-the-year project in one of his classes, and it's BLM and other social justice warrior lies and propaganda. And when he presented that option to his teacher got real nervous.
Yeah.
Really nervous.
I bet.
She's like, well, you're going to be careful about this, right? You're going to be sensitive to all of this, right? And he's like, there's no sensitivity based around the truth. I mean, you're being insensitive to people by not being honest with them.
Thanks for the.
Yeah,
thanks.
he's excited about it, and actually he's going to wind up, and it's a shame, he's going to wind up embarrassing his teacher to some degree because she's been kind of putting this stuff out there as well. And when he starts presenting the facts and the truth behind it, she's not going to look very credible at that point. So, but it was her choice to do that. She had,
Thanks for
made that choice.
Thanks for the call, Craig. Appreciate it. Now,
And real quickly, Peyton, he had to choose something topical, something that was
sure
in the news.
And did his teacher at that school for Catholic bigots, did she say, now be sensitive to pro-lifers? Be sensitive, be careful on the topic? No.
And it was a male teacher.
No. Well, that's why I said she.
Hey.
Okay. Just curious. Yeah. Okay. Blaine, teacher.
He interviewed my friends.
That's
too.
going in your permanent file. All right. Switching gears, we got to talk about how the market's reacting to the Trump tax plan because I need to find out how my investments are doing so that I can.
Oh, okay. This is all about Dan. Enough about Dan. What do you think of Dan?
I have a plan to move to the Isle of Man by 2019, and I want to see how that's proceeding. And for more on this, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Scott Shalady, Scott the Cow Guy, Fox Business News contributor. Scott, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Good morning.
So the market response to the broad outlines of what Trump proposed on taxes, what was it?
Tepid. I would say.
Why? Why tepid? These are big. These are massive cuts. Why tepid?
Because he just really he outlined what he was talking about when he was trying to get elected, number one. Number two, he didn't give the market the detail it wanted. So I've read a lot of research since he spoke. Everything that comes across the desk says it's going to add between $2.5 trillion and up to $9 trillion to the debt. However, there are those of the Laffer school that believe that it's going to be an even bigger boom or boost to the economy. But at the end of the day, I guess a lot of people think that we're probably not going to be able to grow ourselves out of this problem, regardless of the cuts and regardless of the details.
Well, $9 trillion. How do you come up with that number? Because that's a big anywhere between $2.5 to $9 trillion.
$2.5 to $9 trillion, depending on what he loses in tax revenue, what the economy is projected to do over those years. That's why there's a lot of chicanery in those numbers, because in those numbers is what you think the economy is going to be doing over those years as well. And if you think the economy is going to be doing a lot better because of the tax cut, like Art Laffer would say, yeah, you're going to think that it's only going to be $2.5 trillion. If you think the economy is not going to do anything or get worse, then it's going to be a lot larger. Now, having said that, Mnuchin kind of danced around that subject when he was asked about it pointedly. He said he answered in a percentage of GDP. He didn't talk about the debt going up high. He said, we are aware of the debt, but when this comes to fruition, our debt to GDP should be a lot better. That's how he got around the problem. So very interesting to hear him answer it that way because, yes, they're all smart guys. They know that it could add to the debt if we don't grow the economy. But at the same time, he's talking about what the GDP will do versus the debt, and that could be what they're hanging their hat on in it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a spend problem is essentially what he's saying. But let me just a couple of points. One, the old economist joke, I mean, with respect to these models and these projections. What's the old economist joke? That economists have predicted 8 out of the last 3 recessions. So I mean, just in terms of modeling, particularly projecting that far out, I mean, it's like the CBO numbers on Obamacare. They're not to be trusted, or the climate change modeling that's not to be trusted as borne out. So that's number one. Number two, when did Wall Street become deficit and debt hawks? Because we got $20 trillion in debt and another $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities, and we're at Dow 21,000.
Oh, yeah, all of a sudden they care about it, right? Well, they didn't care about it when Obama doubled it after he said it was unpatriotic at $9 trillion.
Right.
So now everybody's got their eyes on it and want this tax cut to be paid for. And arguably, you can't. I mean, that's a difficult thing to do because no one knows. We don't know what we don't know. But now they're all, even his own party, are pushing back. And I just got done talking to a black cab driver about the fact that nobody could really envision everybody protesting Trump, even within. So he's got a long road to hoe, and I could go on and on about the problems he's going to have because of the technology boom that we're seeing, how that's displacing workers, what that's going to do to tax receipts ultimately someday, because we can't tax robots. So he has got a huge job. I'd like to see us go our way out of this, but I just don't think we can.
It's not what Bill Gates says about taxing robots. But here's the question. Do you think it's possible to get back to, particularly with dramatic regulatory and tax relief, is it possible to get back to 3, 4, nay, during Reagan's 7 Fed years, 6% GDP growth?
He's going to need a dramatic turnaround to get to 3%. I mean, fourth quarter GDP was 3.5. First quarter GDP was 0.7. Now, there's always some seasonality there, but still, that's not good. If you think we're going to see a 3% annually, we're going to need to do a lot better than we did in the first quarter. And I tell you, the feel-good factor about keeping some of these jobs at home and seeing some of these companies reinvest here in the States, it doesn't really outweigh the fact that we are losing workers to technology every day, whether it be a kiosk, drone, or robot, and that is going to slowly but surely start to weigh on the economy. And the upper 1% are probably going to, unfortunately, or depending where you lie, are going to be the benefactors of it because we'll create wealth and we're going to, innovate. But at the same time, the middle class is the one that's going to take it on the chin.
Has Wall Street become too government-centric themselves because they reacted positively to public stimulus, quote unquote, the bailouts and the $1 trillion gambits of President Obama, and they're reacting tepidly to private stimulus, meaning more money in the hands of those who can invest and generate a better return on capital?
Well, I think that if they would have gotten a little bit more detail, it would have been taken better. I think that the research has shown now that Wall Street might be leaning to the wrong side of the boat on this because they only believe that there's a 25% chance that anything good comes out of these tax cuts. So if we do get something good out of it, you could see another boost. Number two is we've seen earnings come through a lot better than expected, more like 12.5% versus the 9% expected. So we do see these companies doing better. Unfortunately, they're doing better overseas because the world economy's picked up as ours has stagnated. So there's a lot of things out there that are going to go into these tax cuts and into these numbers, not including the slowdown in consumer price index in China, which has also dampened down inflation expectations globally. So Trump's got a monumental task on his hands. It's not just him. It would have been any president in this position. And I just don't think massive tax cuts, it'll help the market, but it might not help the economy like most people are holding out.
So you were a little frustrated, I can gather, when they rolled out the tax plan. It was only one sheet?
Well, yes. I mean, I think we wanted more than that. The market definitely wanted more than that because you could tell by the way it traded right away. It's kind of already overstretched anyway. I mean, Paul Tudor Jones, who's a very well-respected individual in the industry, said that the Fed should be, and he doesn't use this word very often, terrified about how high equity prices are, with where our GDP is or where our growth is and how much things we are making and selling. So that's a problem, and we need to have those two come together in a soft manner, and that's what Wall Street's worried about, is that it doesn't happen that way. Our growth doesn't get any better, and we slowly but surely wake up to the fact that these equity prices might have really, outstretched themselves.
I like simplicity myself, not Wall Street labyrinths, but okay. I mean, I'll put off my plans to retire to Isle of Man to 2021. I hear you, Scott. Thank you very much. He's Scott Chalady, Scott the Cow Guy, Fox Business contributor.
I'll go with you, and we'll call it Isle of Men.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
And he joined us on our manly turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, a prom to remember. Oh, those kiddies were lucky. But first, here's your forecast. It's going to be cloudy today. See a little bit of blue sky there, but it'll be windy and can't rule out a couple of passing showers. Like we need more rain. A high of 56 degrees. Then tonight, a passing shower, a low of 41. And tomorrow, it's going to be mostly cloudy, increasingly windy, a high of 54. Let's get into our alarm detection systems traffic center. It's been an interesting morning. 20,000 pounds of yogurt? How much was it? 2,000?
I think it was about 2,000,
Yeah.
Amy. It's still some damage there to the guardrail on the inbound Ryan near 63rd where that happened early this morning. All lanes have been reopened for some time now, but they may have to be reclosed to fix that guardrail. As far as the Ryan now is concerned, it's kind of like a routine morning after it wasn't early on. You're looking at about 30 minutes from 95th to downtown. Kennedy, it's tangled up from Cumberland into downtown Chicago. An hour and 7 minutes O'Hare to the Circle. The express lanes take longer than that. Outbound 48 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Eden's 33 minutes, like Cook to the Junction. Outbound 26. The Eisenhower, an hour and 14 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound, it's now an hour. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes. 3:55 to the drive. Outbound 36 minutes. On the Tri-State, delays are southbound Washington to 137, northbound Harlem to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Here's microbiologist Dr. Kim O'Neill talking about balance of nature.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. They fight against oxidants that damage the cell's DNA, causing mutations that lead to disease. I don't take any supplementation, but I take Balance of Nature because I've seen it in my lab. I've seen the immune response increase. I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection, and I know that it works.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Attention, this is an investor notice. Are you interested in making some extra cash buying real estate tax liens? Then listen to this. The Government Tax Lien Network is offering a free tax lien kit, which contains 2 DVDs and a step-by-step report that will show you how to earn guaranteed returns between 15 and 35% yearly, which is completely secured by the government. They'll even show you how to do this inside your own retirement accounts. So if you're looking to become a real estate investor without risk, then call 1-800-404-2219 now to get your free tax lien kit. Then get ready to buy tax liens for pennies on the dollar and buy houses for as low as $500, all from your home with little or no money, working only 5 to 10 hours per week. Call 800-404-2219 right now to get your free tax lien kit plus 2 free tickets to a live training event and a free $20 Visa gift card just for attending. Call 800-404-2219. That's 800-404-2219 for your free tax lien kit now. Individual results may vary.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. The LASIK Vision Institute is now offering dramatically low prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology for a fraction of what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-400-4098. Even better, call right now and you can get an extra 20% discount off our already low-cost services. We've already performed over 1 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve at a fraction of what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-400-4098. 1-800-400-4098. 1-800-400-4098.
When you think about spring, what comes to mind? Baseball, tulips, spring cleaning? How about cleaning up your home? Hi, Amy Jacobson here to tell you about our good friends at CertaPro Painters. Spring has arrived, and it's a great time to focus on your exterior painting. Don't deny how ugly it is. You know, the chipping, peeling, eyesore of a front porch. So do what I did and call CertaPro Painters now. 1-800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. They really are the best in the business. They're clean, responsible, talented. They increased our property values. They're such a top-notch company. They've been around for 25 years and counting. So do what I did and experience the CertaPro difference. 1-800-GO-CERTA or CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro painters, we do painting, you do life.
Ransomware is software that can infiltrate your business through email, enabling cyber criminals to hijack sensitive information as ransom for your own data's release. Leveraging Barracuda email security with advanced threat detection can stop a ransomware attack in its tracks. As an added measure, Barracuda Backup allows you to recover your data without having to surrender to extortion. Crime doesn't pay when you protect your business data with Barracuda. Go to barracuda.com/ransomware to learn more.
When you need spent a little too much time in the sun relief.
Yikes.
Ow, what the? Attack of the angry mosquito relief.
Hey, watch this.
Scraped knees.
And an elbow.
Relief. You need new Gold Bond Pain and Itch Relief Cream with lidocaine. Gold Bond has the maximum strength lidocaine available without a prescription and starts working on contact to numb away pain and itch. New Gold Bond with lidocaine. Relief starts now. Use as directed.
Are you buying or selling a business or starting a business? Maybe you have legal problems with a business partner or employees, or are just drowning in new regulations. You need the support of a law firm that concentrates in a wide range of business law and tax matters. You need the corporate team at Kelleher and Buckley. Whether you're a local mom and pop shop, middle market business, or a large corporation or franchise, they provide cost-effective legal solutions to help your businesses thrive. The lawyers of Kelleher and Buckley focus on targeted legal advice tailored to meet the specific needs of your business. You deserve competent legal representation from a law firm maintaining a high level of knowledge about the ever-changing laws governing businesses. One that also includes accountants and tax specialists on board to provide your business bottom-line solutions. Kelleher and Buckley, LLC of North Barrington and Chicago is a legal solution provider that also includes estate planning, asset protection, life insurance planning, and litigation. Keep your business on track. Call 847-382-9130 or online at kelleherbuckley.com.
Ransomware is software that can infiltrate your business through email, enabling cyber criminals to hijack sensitive information as ransom for your own data's release. Leveraging Barracuda email security with advanced threat detection can stop a ransomware attack in its tracks. As an added measure, Barracuda Backup allows you to recover your data without having to surrender to extortion. Crime doesn't pay when you protect your business data with Barracuda. Go to barracuda.com/ransomware to learn more.
When you need spent a little too much time in the sun relief.
Yikes.
Ow, what the? Attack of the angry mosquito relief.
Hey, watch this.
Scraped knees.
And an elbow.
Relief. You need new Gold Bond Pain and Itch Relief Cream with lidocaine. Gold Bond has the maximum strength lidocaine available without a prescription and starts working on contact to numb away pain and itch. New Gold Bond with lidocaine. Relief starts now. Use as directed.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, so as you know, I've been to more proms than anybody. I was trying to look up the Guinness Book of World Records for proms attended.
You're clearly
I don't have it.
You're the North American record holder.
Well, I've been to 8. So the one that I really wanted to go to was the one that took place Friday night at Huntley High School. I'm sorry, Saturday night. There's a student who wrote his favorite band, Chainsmokers, and said, hey, you're going to be at Allstate Arena. We're right across the street at the Hyatt Regency. Can you come and crash our prom? That's how the idea got started. Well, they decided to crash the prom, but they didn't reach out to that student. Instead, they reached out to the principal, and he kept it a secret, surprise for 2 weeks. So they came to the prom and played their hit song.
So baby, pull me closer in the backseat of your Rover that I know you can't afford. Like that tattoo on your shoulder. Pull the sheets right off the corner of the mattress.
And the kiddies loved it. You'll see it on Twitter. I mean, they tweeted
You can hear the rest of that song at Eric and Kathy.
Yeah, just crashed Huntley High School's prom. That was awesome. Have a good rest of prom. And then he tweeted again, your prom could be next. I mean, this is the best advertising, free advertising, because this story has gone around the world.
Yeah.
Because
no
everybody
question.
loves the Chainsmoker. I was on Good Morning America. And the anchor there pronounced it Huntley or Huntley High School. And I kept, what is
Huntley's not that hard to pronounce.
Huntley High School. I know.
So those kids are privileged, get the Chainsmokers.
And the student who emailed, they called her up on stage and she got to take a selfie with them.
You had somebody, you had Oingo Boingo at one of your proms, didn't you? What was
an Oingo Boingo cover band?
it? Was Oingo Boingo cover band? They're very good. I have never gone to prom,
I know, it's so sad.
including. But here's the thing:
Oh, are you okay?
if for those aspiring artists out there, you want to see how easy to make it big to be the next Chainsmokers. Some guys figured out how you write Chainsmokers songs. Listen to this.
My theme's gonna be champagne. All right, so you want to make it sound like you're edgy, but not edgy, and you want to follow whatever note is on top of the chord you're playing. So when you have this one, you sing this note. This one, this note. Like, we drank champagne when we were young.
Perfect.
I know that you weren't the one.
It's
you
perfect.
keep going on about your parents didn't let us go out. And then the breakdown's like.
And now listen to the actual Chainsmokers.
So baby, pull me closer.
He's kind of got it nailed. He's kind of got it nailed. It's good stuff.
Coming up next on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Trump rallies the deplorables in Harrisburg, PA.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Mike Scott.
Heavy rains, flash flooding, and warnings up for the state of Illinois. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. He loves the job and says he's doing it very well, but President Trump admits to CBS
it's always a challenge, like life itself is a challenge.
What's been his most challenging decision so far? Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
President Trump now passed the 100-day mark in the Oval Office, saying the Syrian missile strike was the toughest decision he's made so far. The president also talking about the difficulty of dealing with foreign policy challenges like North Korea, which continues to threaten the region and even the U.S. with its nuclear capability.
We have to be prepared for the worst. We have to be prepared to do what we have to do. We can't allow this to go on.
The president, speaking on Sirius XM, refused to rule out the use of military force against North Korea. Dave?
And John, the president will also talk to Fox's Eric Bolling in the debut of the new Fox News Channel show, The Fox News Specialists, at 5 p.m. Eastern.
People want the wall, and I think Congress needs to deliver on the wall.
Republican Congressman Ron DeSantis not happy. Funding for the president's promised border wall is not in a compromise spending plan Republicans and Democrats have agreed to. More than $1 trillion to fund the government through September. A vote will come later this week. Have you been tighter with your money lately? Consumer spending did not increase in March, a second straight month holding steady, not going up or down as Americans cut back on buying big-ticket items like cars. A pool party crashed in San Diego.
It looked like he opened fire and then started, picking people off.
A gunman in a lounge chair shot 7 people until police arrived last night and they killed him. One of his victims died. The others were critical, needed surgery. So did a police officer early this morning in Detroit. He's very critical after being shot in the head responding to a domestic dispute.
A suspect, male black, armed with possibly a .25 caliber semi-automatic weapon, emerged from the location and began firing at the officers.
Police Chief James Craig says officers killed the gunman. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Sunshine, 52 degrees. 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. There is a serious multi-vehicle crash in Aurora Butterfield near Eola Road this morning. Jim Telemonte will have all the details and update us on that situation in just a moment. Chicagoland coming off a wet and rainy weekend. Up to 3 inches or more of rain fell across the area, and rivers are flooding. National Weather Service posting flood watches and warnings from the Chicago area all the way down to past Carbondale. Road shut down on Chicago's north side, Broadway and Roscoe. Broadway is closed between Belmont and Hawthorne. CTA buses are being rerouted because of that sinkhole in both directions. Large crowds are expected to hit the streets of Chicago today to mark May Day. Thousands are expected to march, rally, and protest. For what is known as International Workers' Day, there will be immigration rallies as well. No one is in custody after someone broke into Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson's unmarked SUV. Officers noticed Saturday morning items in the vehicle had been tossed around. Investigators now believe doors to the SUV were accidentally unlocked. A group of Northwest Suburban High School students will always have a great story to tell after the Chainsmokers crashed their prom. The popular duo paid a visit to Huntley High and the prom celebration Saturday night in Rosemont before the duo performed at nearby Allstate Arena. Red Sox over the Cubs 6-2. Tigers avoid the 3-game sweep. They beat the White Sox in Detroit 7-3. The news, a service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee. For tires, oil, service, and repairs, National Tire and Battery. That's all you need. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. From the Fox Business Network, a service of Turnkey.pro, here's Ginny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, as J.Crew's sales decline, the credit arm of Blackstone Group is buying more of the company's debt, hoping J.Crew can avoid a bankruptcy. GSO Capital Partners, Blackstone's credit arm, already owns some of J.Crew's bonds. It's working with other creditors. J.Crew has already announced it will eliminate 150 full-time positions and will not fill another 100 openings, mostly at its New York headquarters. Some child carriers made by Osprey are being recalled because a child could fall through the leg openings. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the carriers were sold under the Poco brand and were manufactured between January of 2012 and December of 2014. Dunkin' Brands, parent company of Dunkin' Donuts, is a stock to follow today. RBC Capital Markets says Dunkin' is making changes. Its stock could rise to $64. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
You need to understand that the way you build wealth is you do not use the evening news or CNN or Fox to set the tone of your emotions around your investing.
The Dave Ramsey Show.
If you're thinking of changing your investing patterns because you're watching the news, you need to turn off the news. You are in charge of your destiny.
Dave Ramsey. Weeknights starting at 7. Presented by Wintrust Community Bank on AM 560. The Answer.
Summer involves a lot of driving, to camp, to work, to soccer, back home to grab what they forgot, and then back to soccer again. So wouldn't you like to know your car is up for it? Enter Hum by Verizon. Now you can check your car's health from your phone with vehicle diagnostics, drive with more peace of mind thanks to 24/7 emergency assistance, and let the kids stream and game on the go with your car's own Wi-Fi hotspot. Get Hum and get where you're going. Learn more at hum.com. Verizon Wi-Fi available on HumX only. Data usage applies. Coverage not available everywhere. Visit vzw.com for availability.
Buying a new tractor? You owe it to yourself to visit your LS Tractor dealer. LS Tractors give you a lot more tractor for less money compared to other brands. For starters, LS Tractor comes with more select features as standard equipment. They make operating your tractor easier with better performance to get more work done quicker. Compare and you'll know who gives you more tractor for your money. LS Tractor. Excel in your field. Learn more at lstractorusa.com.
Visit Abbey Equipment in Streator and get more tractor.
8:06 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. In Aurora, got a closure at Butterfield between DuPage Parkway and Eola. There's been a 5-vehicle crash there. We're told that at least 2 or 3 have ended up in the water there. This is right near Fermilab. Lyle 53 is shut down between Park and Butterfield due to flooding. Edens runs 33 minutes Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 25. Kennedy, an hour and 20 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 44 minutes from Montrose, 33 in the Express. They're quicker now. Outbound 54 minutes to the airport. The Ike, an hour and 20 minutes Thorndale to downtown. 50 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 55 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Rhine is 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. The delays on the northbound Veterans Memorial. Boughton most of the way to St. Charles and from the Army Trail toll to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Cloudy and windy today with wind gusts up to 35 miles per hour. Couple of showers during the day with a high 56. And a breezy night, wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour with just a passing shower, low tonight 41. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Officially clouds and sun, 52 at O'Hare. Next news at 8:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Wine Time Radio. Every Saturday at 5 p.m. on AM 560, explore the wonderful world of wine with host James Crooker and Rob Lehner.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So President Trump decided to skip the White House Correspondents' Dinner and go hang out with Trump-supporting troglodytes in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania instead, right?
Yeah, but first, before he had that big, campaign-style rally, he visited a lawnmower factory, which made me like he's mowing over the media and heading out.
Lawnmower man. And that's what he did. He discussed the D.C. press corps out there in Harrisburg. And do you agree with Trump skipping the dinner? And do you agree with Trump skipping the dinner to have a rally in Harrisburg, PA, so instrumental to his presidential victory was winning
Swing
Pennsylvania,
state, yep.
right? Even if it was a bit of pandering and it's him using his base supporters to kind of send a message to the D.C. press corps. I mean, that's politics, but I'm just curious how people react to the choice that he made in the rally he held where he had this message for the said D.C. press corps.
As you may know, there's another big gathering taking place tonight in Washington, D.C. Did you hear about it?
They heard about it.
A large group of Hollywood actors.
No Hollywood.
They've heard about Hollywood.
And Washington media are consoling each other in a hotel ballroom in our nation's capital right now.
Yeah.
They are gathered together for the White House Correspondents' Dinner without the president.
I mean,
it's quite a showman.
Yeah, without the president. I think it's a little childish that he didn't show up. I mean, it's a rite of passage. If you're president, you go up to the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Yeah, but
it's your roasting. I mean, the only one that missed it was Reagan in 81 after he got shot, but still he called in, and he was pretty funny when he called in.
Well,
I should have pulled that audio.
If he would have went to D.C., he wouldn't have been treated to this that he enjoyed at Harrisburg. CNN sucks. See, it's kind of infectious. So you got that.
Wow, a little angry? A
And-
little edgy over there?
And Trump then had this to say in terms of who was hanging out with a better class of people on Saturday night.
I could not possibly be more thrilled than to be more than 100 miles away from Washington Swamp.
Swamp?
Spending my evening with all of you and with a much, much larger crowd and much better people, right?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. The rest of his speech was kind of what you've heard before.
Yeah.
It mirrored the op-ed over the weekend in the Washington Post by the president. In my first 100 days, I kept my promise to Americans. Issue by issue, department by department, we are giving the people their country back after decades of a shrinking middle class, open borders, and the mass offshoring of American jobs and wealth. This government is working for the citizens of our country and no one else. Is that your 100-day review of the Trump administration? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Now, the only weird moment,
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this, the only weird moment was...
For Trump or for the White House Correspondents' Dinner?
No, we'll get to there's plenty of interesting moments and weird moments, but at the dinner. But Trump brought back that Al Wilson poem, The Snake.
Oh. He brought it back on Saturday night?
Yeah. To talk,
Huh?
it was the metaphor that he uses for immigration, right, and people in this country that mean to do people. That was kind of weird, the poetry slam aspect of Trump. But otherwise, it was the kind of rally speech that you saw in the campaign, and it was him on message, consistent with his op-ed in the Washington Post, and that's been echoed by others, including Pennsylvania Representative Mike Kelly, an early Trump supporter, who has a op-ed on Fox News website, in which he says, among other things, President Trump has surrounded himself with men and women from the private sector who, like him, understand how businesses are run, jobs are created, and paychecks are grown. President Trump is unleashing our economy and setting America in a more dynamic direction. And he also just talks about America in general, does Kelly. We are an America that respects itself again. Think about it. 100 days ago, we had a president who actually scolded us to not get on our high horse when criticizing radical Islam because of actions by Christians during the Crusades and slavery. He's right about that. That's a really good point. I had forgotten about that myself. Where there were apologies, there's now pride. Where there was indecision, there is now resolution. Where there was moral relativism, there is once again American exceptionalism. Instead of a lecturer as president, we now have a leader. That's Congressman Mike Kelly's review of President Trump.
Well, according to ABC News, 38 promises that he made in his 100-day contract with voters, he's accomplished 10 of them. That's I don't.
The next 100 days,
with it?
my kind of take on this, the next 100 days are going to be determinative. The first 100 days instructive, some important signature moments like the confirmation of Neil Gorsuch, some signaling through executive orders that is important, tone setting, culture setting on regulatory and tax relief, even in some areas where I'm less supportive of the president, like trade policy. But there's certainly been signaling withdrawing from the TPP, the tariff on Canadian lumber. These are not things I necessarily support, but they're consistent with who Trump said he would be as president, so you can't complain that you didn't know what you were going to get or that he's somebody different than he sold himself to be.
Yeah, and the truth is the 100-day plan remains mostly a to-do list that will spill over, beyond Saturday.
Well, which is always the case.
Right.
Which is always the case. So that's why, I think it's a fair stop, look, and listen as you assemble your team and you start on the path to governance. It's fair to do a 100-day or so stop, look, and listen. But this is not determinative. The Trump record as president of the United States is not on some inexorable path 100 days in. There is much to do. But 100 days from now, then you're a year out from the midterm elections. Then the administration and its potential for success and transformation starts to come into focus. Candace in DuPage on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, good morning. I am very happy about the first 100 days, especially Neil Gorsuch. But I think that the establishment and Paul Ryan have had it for him from the beginning, and I think that Paul Ryan is kind of like the Benedict Arnold. And I won't blame Trump if he doesn't get things through. I will blame the leader of the House, definitely. Because Gingrich was able to get through all and people together and even get people from the Democrat side, still keep it conservative, not change and bend too much to the Democrats. But Paul Ryan, he says one thing, but he doesn't. It's like he doesn't even try. This is a man who's used to giving up and rolling over on everything for 8 years. What, you think all of a sudden he's going to start fighting for the GOP? I don't buy it.
Thanks for the call, Candace. I don't know that Paul Ryan isn't trying, but I agree with you that he is being measured at present and found wanting, probably including by the White House, despite protestations to the contrary. Because, even today, the headlines are White House says we have the votes to pass Obamacare replacement 2.0. And you would have thought that would have been a done deal last week when the Freedom Caucus signed on, but it clearly wasn't because Paul Ryan didn't call the question. So that's one matter. The continuing resolution, which includes funding for Planned Parenthood, which Paul Ryan said the removal of was a moral imperative, and not for the wall and not for increasing the number of ICE agents. I know this is only till September, and it's not the end-all, be-all, but it is indicative of this problem that Republicans have generally, which is we're going to concede this fight so that we can concede a future fight. And I understand the skepticism and even in some quarters exasperation with that approach because I share it. Robert in Northbrook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, 2 points, then you let me know what you think. First, you were reading from an article, and Obama was talking about getting on your high horse and things like that. Okay,
right.
But then we have Trump putting us on the level of the Russians and calling us murderers. Also,
true.
While he was, so there you go. And the other point is, I think that the problem that Trump is going to have in getting anything of substance through, yeah, he might get through this health care bill next week or this week, but a lot of people are debating how good it is, including his own party. But his basic problem is going to be throughout his presidency is he is doing absolutely nothing to try to bring people outside of his base into the fold, and that's a fact. So I think that that's the problem that's going to happen, and he'll never go below 35 to 40% in the polls. Those people are with him no matter what he says or does, and that's fine. They like what he says and does, but the point is he isn't doing anything to even try to bring people in. He's just continuing with divisive speeches, and now he's reaching out to this murderer from the Philippines. Yeah. And what kind of example does that set? He wants to bring this guy into the fold now. He shouldn't even take telephone calls from this guy. He's personally murdering people out there.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks about it.
Thanks, Thanks for the call, Robert.
I mean, and he spoke with Duterte, president of Philippines, on Saturday before he left for Harrisburg, and invited him to the White House. So how is that going to look when a self-admitted mass murderer comes to the White House?
Is that how Duterte refers to himself? I'm a mass murderer?
No, he spoke. He did. I have a quick soundbite. Do you want to hear it?
Mm-hmm.
That how he's killed people to protect other people.
I did kill. I was only 3 months mayor in 1988. At least I killed to protect people. I am not here a dictator killing my political opponents to stay in power.
Yeah,
he just cracked down on people that were abusing drugs and killed some 7,000 people.
Drug dealers.
Drug dealers. Yeah.
I'm not supporting Duterte or the policy of killing even drug dealers without due process, or killing in general, since I'm an opponent of the death penalty. Mm-hmm. So I'm not a sympathizer to Duterte or what you just heard him say. But President, I mean, in terms of the kind of the President of the United States interfacing with despots and dictators, doesn't that come with the job?
Well, President Trump said he enjoyed the conversation where he addressed concerns over North Korea.
Uh-huh. So, I mean, I just want to understand for the people, and because there's a lot of preening about Duterte today from the D.C. press corps that was ridiculed by Trump in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, largely rightly so. Just in terms of their moral relativism, did President Obama ever entertain dictators?
No, Obama called Obama the son of a whore.
Did President Obama ever entertain dictators and people that have oppressed and murdered their own people? Did he ever have interactions with that type of leader on the global stage? Did he yuck it up with Hugo Chavez in Venezuela, for example? Did he go to Cuba to entertain the Castro brothers? Did he engage the Castro brothers and normalize relationships with those two dictators who've murdered untold thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of Cubans? So you want to, you can make the argument that a president of the United States should never entertain a world leader who has committed atrocities, violated people's human rights. You can make that argument. I'm happy to listen to it. But I'm not going to listen to the moral relativist argument from the left that defends President Obama for the Castros and the Chavezes and everybody else, and then says, well, President Trump shouldn't engage with this dictator while he's trying to triangulate North Korea and prevent them from a nuclear test. It's just I always like to understand the standard.
On a lighter note, Duterte offered himself as a gift to brides. That's a good one. When he first became president, he just offered that up.
I'll look forward to Manny Pacquiao being the president of the Philippines. How's that?
That's awesome.
Tom and Palatine, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. Great topic. The Philippines has been a bit of a mess. MacArthur tried to straighten out.
He shall be back.
Masonic lodges there. But if you remember, the original president's wife, Amelia, she had a couple of shoes. Oh. That place has been a mess. And right now,
Imelda Marcos, yes.
Every Filipino that I know loves this guy. They're only upset because he's Trump's age. He's 72. But because this guy is cleaning up the Supreme Court, they were manufacturing drugs in the prisons. This place was as corrupt as any Chavez but we turned a blind eye because, as you just said, we need them. We need them for a base. That's why we turned the eye on Marcos. That time we turned the eye on the Shah of Iran. Let's face it. We've had a lot of bad guys on the planet, but when you look back 50, 60, 100 years, you can have a different opinion. But
thanks for the call, Tom.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of Townstone Financial. Refinancing or purchasing a home does not need to be a daunting task. I guarantee you can have confidence when calling me at 312-896-2110 or going to townstone.com that our only interest is getting you the best refinancing and purchase deal available and to make sure your transaction closes on time and without headaches. If you're a first-time home buyer, you don't need a large down payment. We have a 1% down payment program and Townstone will hold your hand the entire way. If this is your second or third purchase or refinance, let Townstone compete for your business. We've been beating the big banks on interest rates and closing costs since 2002. So don't pay too much. Give me a call now at 312-896-2110. The call is free and so is my time. Lastly, have debt that you need to pay off? Let us help with a cash-out refinance. Remember, nobody beats Townstone. I guarantee it. And I own the company. So call us now at 312-896-2110.
Listen to the Townstone Financial Show Saturdays at 1 p.m. here on AM 560. Townstone Financial is an Indiana, Wisconsin, Illinois mortgage licensee 6629 and NMLS 136639.
Upstream-ideas.com, the digital platform that provides value-added content to complement what we do each morning on Chicago's Morning Answer, including podcasts of our Illinois Rising program covering state politics and policy. Long-form interviews are Against the Current series this week featuring Andrew Broy, the president of the Illinois Network of Charter Schools, on why, if charter schools represent only 25% of the student population in Chicago, but nearly 50% of the college enrollees, why is there a cap? Why won't Tiny Dancer and the Chicago Dems allow families to choose? It's a very good interview that answers that question and many others. Follow the logic, man on the street interviews this week on CPS funding. Is it too much, too little, or just about right? Teacher salaries, too much, too little, just about right. Very interesting. See average Chicagoans try and follow the logic on school financing at CPS, as well as 2-minute warnings, dollars and cents, 60-second commentaries from yours truly. Go to upstream-ideas.com and sign up today.
Daily stress is a big deal. Fact is, the terrible impact of stress is very deadly and shortens our lives. Stressed individuals attract diseases, just like blood in the water attracts sharks. Hi, this is Dr. David Kolbaba. I'm the show host of Health Quest Radio, the longest-running health news and science show in Chicago. And for over 33 years, we share practical concepts from a natural healthcare perspective to minimize the need for all those dangerous drugs and risky surgeries. Today, it's our dirt-cheap adrenal stress index test. No blood, just spit. You know, most people flunk on their first go-around, signaling adrenal gland distress. And then following our stress-busting strategies, most individuals pass their second test with flying colors. So if you can spare a little spit, call and purchase your first dirt-cheap adrenal stress index test, and we'll hold that same special low price for your follow-up test. Call 800-794-1855. You can't get any cheaper than dirt cheap. 800-794-1855. And be sure to tune in to Health Quest Radio this Saturday morning at 11.
If you have pain, listen up. Dennis Prager here. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. So Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of its side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
It worked for me. I need it in the afternoon. I wear down. I'm 84. And in the afternoon, I sort of slow down. I take my Balance of Nature, and it picks me right up.
Knowing that I'm getting my fruits and vegetables, I feel better.
I have a blood disease, but I've been taking this, and I really don't bleed as much as I used to either. That in itself, to me, is a miracle. I will continue to buy Balance of Nature. the best thing that Dr. Howard ever did was make these pills.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get the best offer they've ever given. 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
At our golf outing this year, Bolingbrook Golf Club, we're supporting the 100 Club of Chicago. It's the charity that we're partnering with that provides financial and educational assistance to the families of fallen first responders. We want you to become an AM 560 business benefactor. That means you purchase a foursome at our golf outing for $1,196, and AM 560 gives you 25 60-second commercials that air on our station Monday through Sunday, 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. That's a $3,000 value in terms of the advertising. And at the same time, you'll be helping the great work of 100 Club of Chicago. It's a win-win, so pick up the phone and call Michael Mann, 847-871-1527. Again, 847-871-1527. That's Michael Mann's cell phone number. He loves when you call him at all hours. Enjoy a great day of golf, support a great charity, and reach new customers when you become a business benefactor. That number again, 847-871-1527.
Beautiful live read.
Thank you very much.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, my first presidential love, Governor John Kasich will be here. Ooh.
Keep it clean.
But now let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Sun and clouds, 53 degrees. An area from Georgia to New England bracing for heavy storms today after violent weather slammed the South and Midwest over the weekend. High winds, heavy rains, tornadoes, and snow claimed at least 14 lives. 4 tornadoes hit the area just east of Dallas.
It was the scariest thing, literally, that I believe I've ever experienced in my entire life.
A 2-year-old girl in Tennessee died when wind picked up a heavy metal goalpost and sent it flying through the air. SpaceX is now in the business of launching government satellites. A SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launched from Cape Canaveral this morning. The rocket payload, part of a classified U.S. intelligence mission. CIA Director Mike Pompeo in South Korea for talks on rising tensions with North Korea. President Trump says he's done a lot of things to make the Oval Office more presidential, he says, and his own.
The picture of Thomas Jefferson I put up, the picture of Andrew Jackson I put up, because they said his campaign and my campaign tended to mirror each other.
Trump on CBS's This Morning. Chicagoland coming off a wet and rainy weekend. Because of that, the National Weather Service is posting flood watches and warnings from the Chicago area all the way down to the southern tip of the state. Large crowds are expected to hit the streets of Chicago today, marking May Day. Immigration and workers' rallies are expected. Chicago sports, baseball. Over the weekend, the Tigers just barely avoided the 3-game sweep. The storming White Sox were about to take the series, but Tigers battled back to take a 7-3 win on Sunday. Todd Frazier homered late, but Chicago had its 6-game winning streak snapped. Red Sox score 4-time in the 8th inning. They capture a 6-2 win over the Cubs in the rubber match of that 3-game set in Boston. The news, a service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today. $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee for tires, oil, service and repairs, National Tire and Battery. That's all you need. 8:32 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher says you got to give the president some time.
He's committed to building the wall, but of course, there are a lot of chess pieces on the board that you got to play when you're legislating. You got to deal with the media. You got to deal with all the different competing factors. The man has been in office since January. We have this expectation that everything's going to get done today.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Skip traffic and save money with Metra's 96% on-time dependability and 10-ride ticket that makes every 10th ride free. For fares and schedules, visit metrorail.com.
It is 8:33. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. The latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike and Lyle. 53 remains flooded between Park Boulevard and Butterfield. North side, Broadway is closed at Roscoe with a sinkhole. In Aurora, Butterfield is blocked near Eola with a 5-vehicle crash. Edens runs 28 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose outbound 25. Kennedy, an hour and 11 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Got a crash down Ohio on the right lane. Express lane save a few minutes. Outbound 45 minutes downtown to the airport. The Ike, an hour and 2 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 49 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 44 minutes. Ryan, 28 minutes. 95th to downtown, southbound Lakeshore Drive. Stop and go Hollywood to North Avenue. Northbound slow Oakwood to the Stevenson. Tri-state delays are northbound from 95th to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Reagan Tollway slow from the Fox River Bridge to Eola. Veterans Memorial from Boughton most of the way to St. Charles and from the Army Trail Toll to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Cloudy, windy. We'll see sun this morning, but a couple of showers could pass through this afternoon. High near 56. Currently 53. Next news at 9, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour radio show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
Hey, Joe Walsh here. Are you serious that they've funded the government for just another week? Man, you'd never run your business like this. We'll go after them when freedom returns at 5.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So while Trump was in Harrisburg, PA, Hassan Minhaj, who is a correspondent for The Daily Show, yes, it's still on the air.
And who is he? Yeah, correspondent?
Yeah, he was the featured comedian at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and he had some good riffs on the press. When he turned his sights to the D.C. press corps, he made some good points in an entertaining way, starting with how the press has lost the trust of the people.
I mean, unlike Anderson Cooper's bone structure, you guys have been far from perfect. Remember election night? I mean, that was your Steve Harvey Miss Universe moment. The look on your faces at 11 p.m. on election night, it was like walking into a Panera Bread and finding out your 6th grade teacher has a part-time job there. I was like, what? Mr. Leddington? I guess you don't have all the answers.
And
You have a side hustle.
And on MSNBC?
I had a lot more MSNBC jokes, but I don't want to just ramble on. Otherwise, I might get a show on MSNBC.
And on CNN.
Tonight, CNN is here, baby. Now, you guys got some really weird trust issues going on with the public. I'm not going to call you fake news, but everything isn't breaking news. Yeah. You can't go to DEFCON 1 just because Sanjay Gupta found a new moisturizer.
So there was some good stuff there.
Oh, I love that. My favorite's the Wolf Blitzer when he characterized how he handles his own show.
Yeah, it's the call, hey, take a minute, take an hour, understand what's actually happening before you rush to the airwaves hyperventilating about a story.
Non-news.
Yeah, about a story that isn't fully formed. That's a good point as well. Well, it's one of the points that Ohio Governor John Kasich makes in his new book. He tackles the media and how the media distorts the American dialogue. The book is Two Paths, America Divided or United. And we're pleased to be joined again by former Republican presidential candidate and Ohio Governor John Kasich. Governor Kasich, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So,
Good to be with you.
so why don't we just stick to the media piece of it first in terms of the larger argument that you make in your book. How do you come down on the D.C. press corps and its influence and what needs to be addressed with respect to how the D.C. press corps does its job?
Yeah, well, first of all, in a free society, you need a robust media. I mean, the first thing that happens in societies where they're trying to crack down, I'm just reading about Turkey and how this guy's just arresting everybody. You've got to be very, very careful over there if you're in the press. And so a robust press is good, but I also think press has a responsibility. And so one of the things that I wrote about is that I called a network executive and said, look, you made $1 billion covering the election, and now they're going to push you to make another $1 billion. And when you do that, if you try to do that, I hope you can look yourself in the mirror, because
during the campaign, I mean, there were networks that focused on an empty podium in anticipation of seeing Trump, and I mean, I've never seen anything like it. So the media has a very significant responsibility to cover the news and to and to be in a position of we're not hyping it up just to make money. And the other thing, though, that's important is that we, as consumers of the news, should not just consume that news that we agree with. And so, one of my friends suggested that every American ought to spend 10 minutes a day reading something that they don't agree with. Because as we consume things that we agree with and become more and more convinced that we're right and everybody else is wrong, it leads to a fractured society. And we have people in this country and families and neighbors are fighting with one another over some stupid political stuff.
Oh, I know. I've been there. So do you think this love-hate relationship between President Trump and the media is just a part of a way to get ratings, and it's part of a reality TV world that we live in?
Press. And I think the press, they don't like it, but, if you're in the press, you just do your job and don't get too worked up about the fact that people are criticizing you. Although I can tell you that I have found, to my surprise, really to my surprise, that there are very informed, very successful, very wealthy people who don't know what to believe when they read because they say everything is biased. Now, we know in the press that, you have a particular point of view, but, consume multiple things. Just don't believe your news feed. Just don't believe, one sort of thing that gets sent to you. I always like to laugh and say that I believe virtually nothing of what I read and only half of what I see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but at the D.C. press corps, this whole kind of what's fake news and what isn't, I find rather tiresome. But Holman Jenkins' piece in the Wall Street Journal of the weekend, I find to be very insightful. And his point is this. It's not about fake news or not fake news, and it's not about Trump versus the D.C. press corps. It's about the job the Fourth Estate does in distilling public policy discussions, which is to say it doesn't. It doesn't do costs and benefits. It doesn't do the choices before us and the implications of choices. It does sob stories. And Jenkins' conclusion is that the most anti-reform institution in this country, despite all the protestations about the challenges we face, is the media, because they're in the business of being, frankly, handmaidens to big government, regardless of party.
Well, I don't agree with that at all.
Okay.
Don't agree with that or your view on that. I don't think that's fair. I think that, if you read The Atlantic or The New Yorker, I mean, these articles some of them are like 10 pages long, and they're filled with a lot of good information. If you take the Wall Street Journal over the weekend, it has a lot, and you're just quoting one guy, it has a lot of provocative and things that are, pretty substantive. If you read the review section of the New York Times on Sunday, where they have multiple thought pieces, I think that's true. And handmaidens to big government, I don't even know what that means.
Well,
they are more liberal. I mean, there are people in journalism who are more liberal. We have conservatives who build bridges. So, they build bridges, and we like to build them right. And we have people that tend to be more liberal that go into journalism. But if you're a journalist, if you are not a opinion piece writer, is to report the news. And that's what they have to be careful of, because more and more Americans think that they don't do it. But there's one other side to this, and that is we as consumers are not particularly interested in very much in-depth pieces. We've got our smartphones. We go for headlines called clicks for cash, and that media has to avoid clicks for cash so they can make money by just running stories to get our attention, right? I mean, think about it.
Yeah, not to mention fake news on their sites. I mean, fake news that's click-through.
Look, I've been the subject of fake news, and I didn't know really what it was. And, they have to be careful. Now, on their sites, putting up fake news, no, that's the Facebook controversy.
Well, Governor,
and on Facebook, people are putting stuff up that isn't true. What fake news is going up on what are you talking about?
We call it fake book.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about fake news advertising on websites. On news websites, and we can send you screenshots, the amount of revenue that legitimate news agencies, I'm not talking about ABC or NBC, CBS being illegitimate. I'm talking about if you look at what the advertising around their actual news stories, It's fake news, and they generate revenue from that fake news. So on the one hand, they're decrying it. On the other hand, they're not trying to eliminate it from their own sites because it's a revenue generator, and that's a legitimate point.
I think you have to. I think that's back to values, right? That's back to you should not, and this is one of the things I talk about in the book, is that you should not forget the values that your mother and father taught you in an effort to promote yourself. And if in fact that's the case, that's repugnant. Nobody should be putting fake news up or crazy claims or whatever in order to generate revenue, whether you're in the media or whether you're in business, right? I mean, when you take a look at some of the things we see in business, you know, EpiPen jacking up the price, Wells Fargo filing phony accounts. I mean, these are terrible things. So it's not just restricted to the media. What about the politicians that only think about re-election?
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, this is a problem in our country when I don't think we're over the cliff on this at all, but I am concerned about the drift towards self-absorbment and not about thinking about your neighbor and your responsibility to them, right?
Yep. So, Governor Kasich, what fake news was written about you, and how did you handle it? Did you try to get it deleted?
Well, I just saw one. Well, I mean, it's stuff we correct all the time, but there literally was a piece that came out of Europe about something. It was amazing when I looked at this article. It looked like really that it was real, and we don't know this, but we suspect that it came out of Eastern Europe. And what did we do about it? Nothing. We just, somebody told me it was placed in Wikipedia, so we went and scrubbed that. But, it's done, and how do I feel about it? Life goes on.
Well, what was the premise of the article?
I don't want to get into it.
Because it's fake news. Okay.
I want to go back to real news and the outlets you talked about, because I read all the think pieces you're talking about. I read The Atlantic. I read Vox, which is really kind of the cutting edge of leftist thought, the new generation, the Ezra Kleins and the Matt Iglesias. I read all that. I read the New York Times. I read the Washington Post. Here's my question. If 96% of the D.C. press corps that populates all those outlets that we're talking about donated to 96% of donations from that group were to the Republican candidate for president, or if since 1960, 84 to 92% of that group had voted for the Republican president for candidate, which is what they've done for the Democrat candidate for president over that time. Do you think the news would be different? News coverage would be different?
Well, I mean, if I want to find out what I think is true in an article, and I will read multiple pieces. And I think that if I read the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, I get a pretty good sense of what's happening. Okay, that's kind of the way I look at it. I don't sit around saying I don't believe the news because somebody happens to be a Democrat.
No, it's not about.
Is that what it comes down?
No, it's not about. It's not about believing it. It goes back to the. It's not about fake news. It's about the editorial decisions which exhibit bias.
Well, how would you fix that?
Well, I would. We're fixing it now. More outlets. The digital age. You have the ability to build your own castle.
That's good.
But I'm not. But I don't want to pretend that the premise from the left media in D.C. is not bigger government, because it is. When was the last time you read a think piece in The Atlantic about eliminating a cabinet department, or dealing with unfunded Medicare liabilities, or rethinking Social Security? When was the last time James Fallows authored one of those pieces? Never.
Well, I will tell you that, as I said earlier, I think there are a number of people who are journalists who have a different point of view. But I've been in this business now, and I've been successful in this business. I, as a guy, fought to balance the federal budget. I don't, by and large, feel as though I have not received fair treatment from the media.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, I just have to tell you. I mean, I don't think they would rate the quality of your radio show based on whether they're liberals or conservatives. Maybe some would, but so would some on the conservative side. I just have not found this to be a big problem.
Okay, well, if
I know other people worry about it and that feeds itself, and then conservatives say, "Oh, well, we can't believe anything." I mean,
No.
we're running into a post-truth environment.
No, I know.
We're running into a point where people read only what they want to read and believe what they want to believe without opening their mind to somebody else's point of view.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I disagree that that's the approach that anybody should take. I'm just saying we should be truthful about, when somebody demonstrates who they are, I just say you believe them.
Truthful.
Yeah.
You're saying they're not being truthful.
Well, I'm saying they have a perspective.
Yeah.
I'm saying they have a perspective and they pretend not to have a perspective. That's what I'm saying.
This argument is illustrative of the problem that we have in this country, and that is we are divided. And because we're divided and because we're getting angry and because we're getting cynical, we don't get anything done. So we have Republicans in charge now of Washington. They pass a short-term budget. Are they concerned about that? I don't know. Are the Democrats celebrating Republican losses more than they are their own ideas? Yeah. Do we have families fighting with one another about politics? Yes. And where does this take us? This takes us to a more angrier, more coarse, more disrespectful society.
So
why don't we start thinking about things that we can agree upon and then try to get things fixed? Because if we don't, the country's not moving anywhere.
What are some of those things?
I'll tell you what some of them are. The need for all of us to fight against this opiate epidemic in the neighborhoods. Our ability to, help with the things like food banks so that hungry families can get something to eat. The need to all of us, when veterans come home, in our neighborhoods and in our businesses, to make sure they can get work. These are things that are not Republican or Democrat. These are things that bring all of us together, and then once we do that, we can be a little bit more unified, and then you and I can have an argument over a drink and kind of chuckle and laugh about it and get along.
All right, you're buying.
Well, speaking, okay, I understand what you're saying, but there is a moment for you where you could have come together and supported Donald Trump, and that was the Republican National Convention. And do you regret not showing up to an event that was in your own backyard?
No, because this was negative. This was a negative. It's somebody else's fault. We can fix all this. I'm not supporting any politicians that are negative. None. If you want to drive people into a ditch, I'm not helping you. If you're of a different philosophy, but yet you want to be a unifier, I will help you. So, sometimes in politics, just like we're having this discussion, sometimes your personal values trump your party. Kennedy said that, JFK. Sometimes my party asks too much.
We know what
And
Teddy
I'm
did.
not going to be involved in supporting somebody that expresses the politics of division and the politics of put down and scapegoating.
Where are you on Trump 100 days in?
Well, I want him to do well. I saw some steps forward, but then I saw clips of that rally in Pennsylvania, which David Gergen said was the most divisive and negative speech by a president. I don't like that. I want him to bring the country more together. I mean, you stick on your principles. You can do that. You and I can argue about the media.
Sure.
We don't have to dislike one another in the process. We don't have to put one another down.
Right.
So I didn't like what he did on Saturday night. He's president. His job is, as my wife once told me when I became governor, and I was starting out in a rocky way. She said, "You're the governor. You're the father of Ohio. Why don't you act like it?" And when you're a president, you have an obligation like Reagan did. Nobody stood on principle more than Reagan, but yet he brought people together in the process, and that's what I'd like to see this president do. But I want him to do well. He's the president. We live in America. And we have a lot of people that root against him every day, and I'm not one of them.
When it comes to both President Trump and the Republican majorities in Congress, where do you think between now and let's say the next 12 months as we head into the midterms, where should they spend the majority of their political capital consistent with a Kasich vision for governing America?
It's all about, if they want to do the tax cuts, I think that's good. Corporate tax rates are too high, but you can't just cut the rates without worrying about driving up the debt. I think that's really important. I think the biggest issue in the country is the slow growth of this economy. I mean, you see it in Illinois. We see it in Ohio. We need to make sure that we get this economy going by encouraging investment from businesses, reducing the prospects of higher and higher debt. I like what they're doing in many respects on the issue of regulation, because regulation can kill. And I think they ought to construct a health care reform package, but I don't think they ought to do it without including Democrats. I think those are good things, good positive things that the country would reward.
All right. He is Ohio Governor John Kasich. The new book, Two Paths, America Divided or United. Governor Kasich, thanks so much for joining us.
All right,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Take care.
God bless.
You too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I love the product. I think I've been feeling great.
Just feel so energetic. Just amazing.
My cholesterol readings have never been better.
Balance of Nature has been consistent and has changed my life.
I love the product. It's really helped me.
I don't need my cane anymore. My knee doesn't hurt. I was afraid every day to wake up for fear it's going to hurt, but it hasn't hurt since.
Since I'm taking this stuff, it really is absolutely great. I mean, I'm digesting better. I have better appetite. You know, it's just worked miracles.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
You have a wonderful company. I love my Balance of Nature. My whole life is so much better.
The father of Ohio is Woody Hayes. Hey, you hear me talk about MyPillow all the time.
Don't tell Mrs. Kasich that.
Yes, you hear me talk about MyPillow because I love it. Can't sleep without it. And a good night's sleep is so important to our health, Dan. And for May, you can still receive the 50% discount on the MyPillow 4-pack. 2 premium MyPillows, 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, all for the price of 1. That 10-year warranty is in place. 60-day money-back guarantee if you're not satisfied, but you will be. Because once you start sleeping on a MyPillow, you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need, regardless of sleep position. No more waking up with a stiff neck or headache. And our good friend Mike Lindell manufactures them right here in America using only American labor. So go to MyPillow.com, promo code Amy, or visit MyPillow.com, which I just said, promo code Amy, or call 800-489-0201, promo code Amy.
You need to switch your cell phone service to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile was founded to support conservative causes while providing the same great nationwide cell phone coverage that you're already used to enjoying. Patriot Mobile allows you to donate up to 5% of your monthly bill to the conservative organization of your choice at no extra cost to you. Do what I'm doing. Do like me. Switch to Patriot Mobile and support the conservative agenda. Switch today and get a free iPhone with a $50 unlimited talk, text, and data plan, or a free Galaxy phone with a $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan. They will also buy out your current contract up to $500 per line. There's no catch. Call 800-A-PATRIOT, and Patriot Mobile will even waive your activation fee with promo code Joe. Or go to patriotmobile.com/Joe.
Ransomware is software that can infiltrate your business through email, enabling cyber criminals to hijack sensitive information as ransom for your own data's release. Leveraging Barracuda email security with advanced threat detection can stop a ransomware attack in its tracks. As an added measure, Barracuda Backup allows you to recover your data without having to surrender to extortion. Crime doesn't pay when you protect your business data with Barracuda. Go to barracuda.com/ransomware to learn more.
When you need spends a little too much time in the sun relief.
Yikes.
Oh, what the? Attack of the angry mosquito relief.
Hey, watch this.
Scraped knees.
And an elbow.
Relief. You need new Gold Bond Pain and Itch Relief Cream with lidocaine. Gold Bond has the maximum strength lidocaine available without a prescription and starts working on contact to numb away pain and itch. New Gold Bond with lidocaine. Relief starts now. Use as directed.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Bob Aument, a founding partner of the law firm of Dassman & Aument and longtime personal customer of Signature Bank. Our firm recently left one of the larger banks to bank with Signature Bank, and it's been a refreshing change. With Signature Bank, we've been able to tailor banking solutions that fit the specific needs of our firm. Beyond that, Signature Bank is responsive, efficient, and timely in meeting those needs. If I have a request, I pick up the phone and talk to Mick O'Rourke, not someone at a phone bank thousands of miles away. Dassman & Aument needed more than what the larger banks offer, and we found that with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
My name is David Hochberg, Vice President Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. According to creditcard.com, cardholders in Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Michigan are carrying over $33,000 of debt on their credit cards. The Federal Reserve recently increased the interest rates 1/4 point, which, according to credit enhancement expert Gary Novell, will increase the average credit card holder's interest payments $825 a year. The good news is home values have rebounded, so now is an excellent time to use your home's equity to eliminate your stress, pay off credit card debt, and lower your monthly payments. To see if you can use your home's equity to pay off your debt, give me a call now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. I've helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License 4358 and MLS 19186.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us. Anything else you want to say, Dan?
No. I've said everything I have to say today.
Thanks to Justin, our technical director, and Keith Conrad, our executive producer. We're back here tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. Go Blue Jays. Now let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, heavy rains bring flash flooding and flood warnings to the state of Illinois. Large crowds expected to be on the streets in Chicago for May Day events. WIND Chicago News Time is 9 o'clock.